Baseball is full of utility workers. Broadcasters might write articles, infielders might play outfield, outfielders might cut hair. That's Robert Pitts right there, outfielder for the Long Beach Coast. I'm Jesse Cook, and you can catch Robert's full interview with my broadcast partner Joey Miller on YouTube next week. But I figured, well, he's got the shears and the razor out cleaning up Joey. I'd go for some as well. And, Robert, what's next?
Beach Ball pregame report starts right now.
Whew. Robert Pitts has us looking pretty good right now, wouldn't you say?
I'd say so. He lined us up nice and good, a nice fade. Now I know who to go to. Sorry, Sports Clips. I think I have a new barber.
Well, Robert Pitts, the barber in the ballpark, and he is in the starting lineup today. So while he's cutting our hair, we can see him cutting across the bases. So we had lots of fun with him. Make sure you catch Joey's full interview with Robert next week when it drops on the Coast YouTube page. But you can catch all your Coast content there, including live games. And last night, you got to tune in for Jack Martin cutting up the Missoula PaddleHeads for Long Beach's first ever win over Missoula.
After coming off of a couple of losses and a good performance at that on his previous loss, he finally gets himself back into the win column, following that trend that we talked about in yesterday's Beach Ball pregame show about how these starters have held things down, and now the offense finally starting to pick it up for the starter Martin. And I saw a little bit more confidence in him that maybe we haven't even seen since June when he was making that push for the Player of the Week back a couple months ago.
And on Star Wars Day today, we can reflect on yesterday with Jack Martin going to Missoula, telling him that he's going to pitch real well, and them going, no, that's not possible. Like Luke, if you haven't seen Episode 5 of Star Wars, that's what I'm referencing.
Spoiler
But we're going to have a lot of stuff like that sprinkled in throughout the ball game today on our broadcast, so we appreciate you tuning in. Now, Joey, you know that when it comes to Star Wars versus Trek, well, I love them both. I am very much more of a Trekkie, but I'm wondering, when it comes to Star Wars, what are you most excited for to see at the ballpark today?
Well, I know that we're seeing the Dark Lord himself, Darth Vader, throwing out the first pitch, so that should be interesting. I mean, he can barely breathe when he's up on the mound. I don't know if it's getting to him. There's not a lot of altitude to speak of here, but we'll see if he can command a strike. I don't know. Maybe
your lack of faith gets scared of.
Well, you know, he's the bad guy, and right now the Coast starting to look like the good guys that they
Absolutely.
have been all single season. They found their mojo. They found their moxie last night. It was fun to watch, especially because 5 of the 8 offensive innings, they had multiple hits. That is not a feat that they were able to do the first night, and it's what led to those big rallies that boosted their momentum.
Absolutely, and Long Beach has been needing momentum. Yesterday, the first time since Thursday that the Coast recorded runs in back-to-back innings. That type of momentum is tough to buy, especially when you're in a tailspin like the Coast were with that 3-game losing streak. We will reflect with Benjamin Rosengard later on Missy the Slump Skunk and where she is now out of the ballpark. But yesterday, Long Beach gains that momentum with the bats, but they've had it on the mound this entire week.
And that's just really what needs to continue with Garrett Van Deventer due up today in his spot in the starting rotation. Staying strong on the defensive side is one thing. I know that there have been a couple of errors that have plagued a couple of games against the Freebirds and the Oakland Ballers, but last night's defense, you have to give a shout-out to them. 3 double plays and a fantastic play by Spence Kaufman, who snagged one up the middle. Now, I found out something, that he was an all-state basketball player in high school.
We saw his hops there.
Yeah, he used to dunk back in high school, and now he's dunking on the offense of the Missoula PaddleHeads, ending innings in the most impressive ways.
Well, Spence isn't that much taller than me. You think he could teach me how to dunk?
Well, that takes a lot of plyometrics and a lot of training, so maybe not at this point in the season. But had he gotten here a little earlier from the Red Pocket Mobiles, then maybe.
I think so. 5'7" is the prime dunking height, I've heard.
Well,
Well,
Nate Robinson would have something to say about that.
exactly. Well, he's 5'9". But Long Beach dunked on Missoula yesterday. Emilio Corona's home run playing a big role in the later innings. But we have to keep talking about the pitching. And to do more of that is Jack Martin, who on Star Wars Day yesterday had Missoula batters echoing C-3PO and going, "Oh dear." All fives for Jack Martin yesterday. 5 innings, 5 hits, more importantly, 5 strikeouts, and you're back in the win column. Not with a 5, that's a 7. How does it feel to lead the team in that category?
It feels good. I mean, our staff is a bunch of dogs, so to be able to get a win for the team last night was big. We've been itching to get back in the win column, so to do it last night on the mound for the team was a good feeling.
And it's been a minute for you. You've been dealing with injuries, so how important was it for you to get back into the win column yourself?
Yeah, I mean, having like a little bit of time off was just like kind of a mental test. But that whole time I was just itching to get back on the mound, so I felt normal, felt good. Everything was fine.
What was going through your mind that first at bat where you're back in a game, back with your confidence in your stride?
I just felt like myself, honestly. I was just happy to be back pitching again with a hitter in front of me. And, yeah, I felt like I did a good job, and I'm glad to be back.
And we talked with Jerome Williams, your pitching coach, on Tuesday about getting Brett Wozniak back into the rotation, about getting Cole Percival back into the rotation, getting you back there as well. How big of a role did he play in rehabilitating you?
Rome's awesome. Has so much time around the game and has seen so many different things happen, injuries, whatever. He's just a good guy to kind of talk to on a daily basis about what you feel, how you're feeling, and he can kind of give you tips and tricks, what he did when something with him was bugging him in his career. So he's been super helpful throughout the process of getting back, and yeah.
Which of those tips and tricks helped you out the most?
Honestly, just resting when I should. Simple things are usually the best things, and that's kind of what I prioritize trying to come back. So yeah.
Not trying to force anything, right?
Yeah, not trying to do too much. Taking care of your body, recovering well, stuff like that, sleep. So.
Now, on Star Wars Day today, you're not forcing anything, but can your guys use the Force?
Yeah, I mean, last night was a good momentum force for us last night, so hopefully we can keep that rolling for Star Wars Day. And, yeah, all the guys are pumped to be back and, yeah, ready to roll.
Do you have a favorite Star Wars character?
Darth Vader.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, so you like the dark side?
Yeah, I like the dark side, I'd say.
Love that. Well, you've been putting hitters on the dark side lately. Thanks so much, Jack. Jack talking about his favorite Star Wars stuff. Liking Darth Vader is a choice. I don't think you're supposed to like him, but I love the character and James Earl Jones. And if you've seen the initial trilogy, okay, maybe you're supposed to like parts of him, but what you see, at least up until the end of Episode 6, is pretty evil.
Well, he is from New Jersey, which many Americans...
Darth Vader?
No, Jack Martin. Jack Martin is from New Jersey, which many people consider the evil empire of America. But I don't know. They did just win a game in the Little League World Series, which is going on right now, by the way. So they advanced. The only reason I know that is because of my former broadcast partner, Jason Gret, who posts anything about New Jersey.
So it's like little Anakin winning the pod race in Episode 1.
Exactly.
Exactly like that.
Exactly. But maybe an interesting choice for Jack Martin, wanting to be a good guy for Long Beach, but supporting the bad guys. But, hey, now he's going to get some pitching tips from the Dark Lord himself when he takes the mound in a couple of minutes.
Well, maybe Jack Martin gave Darth Vader some tips. You never know. That real recognizes real. And one of the realest Star Wars fans on this team, Jacob Jablonski, has a message for Coast fans.
Hey, Coast fans, this is Jacob Jablonski. Welcome to Star Wars Tonight. May the Force be with you.
I can confirm Nathan Hemmerling is okay after that Star Wars-themed altercation. But after that, would it be fair to say?
E2 E2 jabs.
I was going for R2.
Oh, that's
D2.
true. Okay, all right. R2D2, C3PO, whatever you want to call it. What great actors we have in this organization.
Absolutely. Now, like I said earlier, I'm a little more of the live long and prosper type with Star Trek, but someone who has been hitting long and prospering is Benjamin Rosengard. He was one of 4 members of the Coast yesterday with multiple hits in the game and one of 2 coasters with a triple.
In that big 6-run inning, he got the go-ahead following Cooper Vest, who got that initial triple to put the Coast on the board initially. Rosengard has had a bit of an up-and-down homestand. A couple nights ago, I recall he went 0 for 5, and then, we are typically here in the press box a couple of hours after the game taking care of post-game stuff and articles that you can read on longbeachcoast.com. But we heard some noises from the hitting facility, and we saw that there was a lefty in there, and later I confirmed that was Rosengard. He was mad at himself, and he knew that he was better than that. We know that he's better than that because we saw him hit 463 last year with the Idaho Falls Chuckers. So seeing Rosengard find himself again is truly something magical.
And what's funny is he told us he doesn't like to pay attention to the numbers. Not only does he not pay attention, but he doesn't want to know. I asked him before we started talking for the interview that we're going to have in a couple moments, hey, you're batting 350. No, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to know. I don't want to hear it. He was very adamant that he does not want to know what his numbers are. He just wants to go in with a clear head and hit. And that's not even the first time that we've seen him after a game in the batting cage very late at night. I mean, we're here bordering up on midnight some of the time, and Rosie's out there.
Yeah, and I think that's a great approach. I know growing up, your coach probably said to clear your mind and just focus on being in the moment, being one with the force, maybe some might say. And he certainly forced a lot of baseballs off of his barrel last night.
Yes, he did. Benjamin Rosengard, what a stretch he's enjoyed in his short Long Beach tenure. Only here for the better part of a month now, but making his impact nevertheless. So we talked to the World Baseball Classic infielder about what it means to be wearing a Coast jersey and playing such efficient baseball during the middle of a playoff stretch. Rosie, triple yesterday, you're second with the Coast. Is there something that clicks for you when you're rounding second, thinking, yeah, maybe I could go for 3?
Yeah, I sometimes feel like I'm Lightning McQueen and ka-chow. No, I'm just kidding. But no, a lot of times it's, obviously I think that I have good top speed especially, and so when I have the opportunities to show that, I'd like to, and also, it forces the defense to make a play. Yesterday I was rounding second. I was like, this might be close. Like Troy and TG and Rome, we have a culture here of, just playing and being aggressive and taking the extra bag when we can. And so anything to, gain 90 feet and get you closer to scoring, especially when, admittedly, outside of yesterday, our offense has been struggling a little bit.
You said it. The offense had been in sort of this downspin, 8 consecutive games without 10 hits, longest streak like that on the season. So what led to breaking out of that and winning?
All 3 of our coaches yesterday wore their quarter zips and black shoes. So they, better be back in it today. So that's probably honestly what did it. Outside of that, just trying to keep it loose, right? Obviously it's, we have high expectations for ourselves. We know what this offense can do. We know what the individuals in this offense are capable of. And so when you're not producing to that level, it can get a little bit frustrating. And there's some pressing and when the wins aren't coming as easily as they once were and all that stuff. So, I think just the mindset shift of, hey, like, let's just be us. Let's go up there. Let's just take it a bat at a time. Keep the line moving for the guy behind you. And I think that mindset shift really helps. And obviously having a guy like TG as your hitting coach, there aren't many World Series MVPs that you can pick their brain about, approach or timing or whatever the case is. And so having him, lead the offense, especially in the times when we need it most, is, special and a big credit to the success.
Quarter zips for all the coaches. Has that been a trend for success lately?
As of yesterday, yes. So I told TG before the game, I said, I've never seen you in a quarter zip. And he goes, well, if it doesn't work today, you guys are on your own, because the only other thing you can replace is the man in this in this uniform. So glad it worked yesterday. Let's keep the magic up and have it work today, hopefully.
Do you guys have superstitions like that as a team that have been working or failing this year?
Good question. I don't know of any. I think there's an incentive that we like to go in there and have some fun with the loud music at the end of the game, play some fun songs. So, when you don't win, you don't get that. So it's like, Pavlov's dog, like you start to salivate as you, treat in front of you, win in front of you. Okay, cool. So anyways, we're off topic, but yeah, we're just out here having fun.
Speaking of like winning superstitions and animals, have you heard of Missy the slump skunk yet?
No.
Okay, hold on. I got to pull this up for you because we've had a visitor at the ballpark during the post game after all of the losses over the weekend that we didn't see yesterday. So, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
I don't know if you can see well.
Is that an actual skunk? Oh my gosh, no way.
Missy was safely relocated, thankfully, outside the ballpark. But what do you have to do to make sure that the slump skunk doesn't play a role in the future?
Glad that the skunk is out of here now.
I think we are too. Now, from a player perspective, I do just want to circle back. You mentioned Troy Gloss and the role he plays in helping the team out. What does it do for you guys having a World Series MVP on your staff?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously unique, right? There's very few of them out there. And so just being able to pick his brain, like, you might be feeling great at the plate, you might not be feeling good, but he's always there to hey, maybe we're going to back up off the plate today. Maybe we're going to, the minor adjustments that you can make in baseball. Maybe you're going to spread your feet out a little bit wider today and start your load a little bit earlier. Maybe, whatever the approach is based on the guy that's throwing out there. And so I think we did a really good job of that yesterday, especially against a lefty who their starter I thought was actually a pretty effective and good starter. And so I think that we were able to knock him out early, which was great, and get into the pen a little bit and obviously put up the runs. And the timely hitting helps too, right? So, I felt like we couldn't get a hit with runners in scoring position for a long time. And obviously we had a bunch of guys come through yesterday, and then Mill was able to break the game open with the moon shot. So anyways, but just, having a guy like TG and being able to always, he's always there for us, always able to pick his brain is really special.
And since you've come to Long Beach, your batting average has soared. I know you said you don't like to know the numbers,
I don't like to know.
so we'll leave that out.
Yeah.
But what's been working for you since you came over from the Frontier League?
I think, a big part is being healthy and being somewhere where I'm excited to be, I want to be. I feel obviously valued, and I'm with a group of guys that, we're pulling for each other. We're all in that clubhouse, rooting each other on the good days and the bad days. It's a loose clubhouse. There's a lot of fun. We're able to just get out here and play and kind of keep all the other stuff to the side. We don't worry about it, which is great, and that's a credit to the environment that both Troy's and Rome have created here and fostered. And so those are usually the situations where I flourish the most, and so being able to just come in here and help the team out with whatever they've needed has been great. And I'm glad that it's worked out for all of us, and get this late 2.5 weeks that we have to go with the regular season into a playoff push. And obviously we have one goal, and it's a credit to the guys from before I was here that they were able to clinch that in the first half.
Thanks, Benjamin Rosengard there. Sorry, we had to cut him off a little bit early because we got a baseball game to play. And Benjamin is long-winded in 5 different languages, and he's got a great bat to add to that as well. But Joey, now we got the field in front of us. The Coast out there for the first.
And now the Vandalorian, Garrett Van Deventer, takes the mound on a very apropos night. Star Wars night here at the ballpark. So, of course, you have to compare all of the nicknames. This one particularly fits best, and it just happened to fit into his starting slot. Today, the defense is as such. Eddie Pelk in left, Emilio Corona in center, and Robert Pitts getting the start in right. Matthew Bardwell getting the day off. Rosengard at third. He was the difference maker last night with the go-ahead RBI. Mata and Kaufman up the middle. Cooper Vest at first. Johnny Pappas to catch his now multi-year teammate Garrett Van Deventer. And Enzo Apodaca will lead things off here. We are right on schedule. The lefty out of Arkansas City, Kansas. Toes the rubber on the third base side and misses inside. We're underway right at 6:35 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you so much for tuning in from wherever you're tuned in from. Coming off of a 10-3 victory, the Coast hoping to take the series advantage today. Apodaca puts a drive into a floater into the glove of Corona for out number one. Last night was the Missoula PaddleHeads' 10th loss of the second half. They're now 22-10, still 6 games behind the Modesto Roadsters, but they're still in the driver's seat right now for a potential spot in the 2026 playoffs. This could be a potential future matchup in those playoffs. We'll see how things shake out. We're heading into the middle of the third to last week of the regular season, a called strike to Nick Klemp, who was the thorn in the side of Jack Martin's otherwise excellent outing last night. He got the win, his 7th on the season. You just heard from him in the Beach Ball pregame report. Klemp, pop fly into right field. Pitts under it for out number 2. 4 pitches, 2 outs. Trying to work an efficient top of the first.
Well, that's been the name of the game for Long Beach pitching at its best moments of the year. Remember Van Deventer's complete game shutout. I think he only had, 1, maybe 2 strikeouts in that 9-inning game? Not a complete game shutout, but a complete game.
It was 5 ground outs as well. And that's really what you need to talk about when you talk about somebody like Garrett Van Deventer.
Yeah, those 5 double plays.
Off speed enters the zone for Bryce Sermonelli. Vandy comes set. And now goes at it with the 0-1 off the end of his bat up the middle. Mata ranges over, can't get there. And it's going to be a leadoff single, or rather not a leadoff single, but the first hit of the day for Bryce Sermonelli, his 3rd on the series. And that kind of leads me into my point there. Garrett Van Deventer, out of all the starters for the Long Beach Coast, has the most hits per innings pitched ratio by any starter. Now, while that may not sound like a good thing, what it says about him is that he attacks the zone and he trusts his defense to make plays for him. He induces a lot of contact, typically soft contact like you just saw there with Nick Klemp. He found a gap, though, rather Bryce Sermonelli. Xavier Casarilla takes strike 1. A change up there starts off the team leader in home runs. And a foul ball to the first base side. Now an 0-2 count with 2 outs and a runner at first. Casarilla, 1 for 7 this series. A couple of walks yesterday. But he went hitless in his 5 plate appearances yesterday. On the ground, Kaufman behind the second base bag. Gets the easy out at second. Mata steps on the bag for out number 3, and we are through the top of the first. No score heading into the bottom of the first. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Garrett Van Deventer needs 9 pitches to get through the top of the first, leaves one stranded after one hit for the Paddleheads. And now it's going to be a new arm for the Paddleheads, new as of, well, today, Mason Martinez, the right-hander, fresh out of the Tri-City Valley Cats. He exchanges one indie ball team with a random capitalized letter in the middle of it for another one. The Tri-City Valley Cats capitalized their C in Cats, and the Paddleheads the H in Paddleheads. But that's beside the point. It's his first professional season, 2 for 2, rather 2 and 2, his record. Only one start with the Valley Cats in 14 appearances, so this is his second professional start. But 40 and a third innings pitched in the Frontier League franchise, 29 Ks and 25 walks, so kind of even in that category. In the Frontier League, which often offers a lot of older experience compared to the Pioneer League, which caps off at about a 3-year experience cap. Eddie Pelk is reaching that cap. He takes ball 1.
And the Amarillo, Texas native on the bump, dealt a .491 ERA against some pretty solid Frontier League hitting.
1-0, misses low for ball 2. And Martinez, we're told, has what he calls, he throws the book. A 4-seam cutter, sweeper, changeup, and a curveball. 2-0, misses low and inside by the knees. Pelk, a 3-ball count. Yesterday he went 1 for 3. That was his first hit yesterday since Saturday. Had a couple of hitless appearances. But now here we are in game 3. 3-0 over the plate on an 88-mile-per-hour fastball. Martinez, yet again, another pitcher who is not going to get you with the velo on his fastball over the movement of his secondary pitches. But this time he misses with one of those secondary pitches, rather a fastball inside. A walk to Eddie Pelk. Stop me if you've heard this before. Eddie Pelk, over 100 walks on the season, kicks things off here in the bottom of the first. His 106th. Now 20 over the benchmark that was set heading into this season at 86, blowing past the record that was set by 3 different players, but only one in the modern era, Evan Scavato, prior to this season.
The funny thing is that Pelk is not the only person to pass that mark this year. KJ Ashworth of Glacier.
Glacier, who the Long Beach Coast just saw recently. Emilio Corona takes the second pitch outside, a couple of balls.
Yeah, Ashworth up at 90. So 2 guys have eclipsed that record, and more are on the way.
But I can tell you, Pelk was the first to break the record, so if that means anything.
Does.
Corona slaps one in the air down the right field line, and it goes foul into the VIP area.
There are a couple guys on this Missoula team who will probably get to that mark as well. Derek Apodaca is in 6th with 69. Michael Kazuski in 4th with 79. So 2 guys who have a very real shot of getting up to that 86 mark this year.
2-1, slides outside for ball 3. Emilio Corona yesterday, an insurance home run. He also started off a 6-run rally in the bottom of the 4th. That was the first time that the Coast had scored at all in 10 straight innings. And now it's going to be back-to-back walks, putting Eddie Pelk into scoring position for Cooper Vest, who did cash in a run, cashed in Emilio Corona specifically yesterday on a triple. Cooper Vest, what a week so far. 5 for 9 after going 3 for 20 last week. He's already exceeded the amount of hits that he had in the span of the 6-game set between the Yuba Sutter Freebirds and the Oakland Ballers. That was a 3-3 week for the Coast. Now starting things off 500 as well in the second week of this big homestand. The final big homestand and the second to last week here at Blair Field of the regular season. But we still have some extracurriculars due up in September. Some postseason baseball in just a couple weeks from now. It's crazy how fast that's creeping up on us.
Well, we've been anticipating it ever since the Coast clinched back on, I think it was July 7th.
You're right.
But it being such a close reality is definitely shocking.
It is August 20th, and that means in about a little less than a month from now, we're going to get to see the first ever postseason baseball. And I believe they'll start on the road in the divisional round. Not sure who they'll face off against yet. They have to see how the second half shakes out. Right now it's the Roadsters and these Paddleheads battling out for a spot. Boise Hawks not too far behind the Paddleheads. A called strike to Cooper Vest. And now a 2-2 count. Nobody out, runners at first and second for the Coast in a 0-0 tie. Bottom of the first. Martinez looks back at Pelk. Now looks forward for the 2-2. Breaking ball fools Vest. An off-balance swing for out number one and strikeout number one of this ball game. 73 miles per hour on that curveball. Took something off it, and Cooper Vest couldn't resist. Now Cuba Bess will take the plate here. He tied up the ball game last night on a broken bat RBI single up the middle. Cuba Bass accepts that very same 73 mile per hour breaking ball. This time it's in the zone. He had not had a multi-hit game since August 4th, the very same day in which the last time he got an RBI. Last night he accomplished both of those tasks. 98 now on the season for the second-year Pioneer League slugger. An 0-2 count on Cuba Bass after that foul ball from Martinez. Martinez to the plate, a swing and a miss, back-to-back Ks. Gets 2 outs after allowing 2 on the freeway.
Well, lately, Long Beach's main problem has been failing to capitalize when runners are in scoring position, when they've been given these free passes. Yesterday, not an issue, but today, Long Beach is at risk of being granted 2 free bases to open up the game and stranding those runners.
Not an issue if they can get across a run here. Rosengard did that yesterday, getting the go-ahead run on a triple. In the bottom of the fourth, he takes strike 1. Well, you know what they say, do or do not.
That's right, there is no try.
Breaking ball in the zone. And now Rosengard will need to try and get a piece of this one.
Well, if you catch our full Beach Ball pregame report on YouTube, you got Benjamin Rosengard telling us his favorite character is Yoda and my Yoda impression.
0-2 up the left field line, hooking foul. It's going to get foul off the wall with some distance and some late carry. Everybody has to return to where they once were. In a base position far, far away. 2 outs in the bottom of the first. Rosengard looks on for this righty on lefty matchup. Swing and a miss. And the breaker inside. That time the sweeper got him. For out number 3, leaves 2 stranded. 3 strikeouts after 2 walks. Welcome to the Paddleheads, Mason Martinez, a scoreless first. We head to the second here on the Coast Media Network. Couple of pickled eggs start off our top of the first and bottom of it. Into the second we go. Garrett Van Deventer trying to work the very same if he can here. A great opportunity for the Coast, but it was all for naught. Couple of walks and then 3 straight strikeouts for Mason Martinez in his Paddleheads debut. And now Nate Vargas in his first start. The catcher slaps one foul towards the Coast dugout on the first base side. We saw Nate Vargas in the top of the 9th. That's when Michael Schlack, the now 6th-year manager of the Missoula Paddleheads, basically send out anybody he could to try and get something started against Zach Volker. A 1 breaking ball inside, misses. Now a 1-1 count. And in that pinch hitting role, much like Michael Ball, who is due up in the on-deck circle currently, they both got singles off of Zach Volker, but they were both left stranded. 1-1 misses, and now Vargas ahead of the count. He was a second-half pickup out of UC Santa Barbara, now back in Southern California to try and do some damage for the Missoula Paddleheads. Garrett Van Deventer delivers the 2-1 that misses outside on a changeup. 3-1 is how he starts him off. The only hit on the game so far was Garrett Van Deventer issuing one to Bryce Sermonelli. He was caught in the fielder's choice to end the first.
And I'd love to see Van Deventer attack like that more frequently because, yeah, it went up the middle, it got through for a hit, but it was weak contact, and he's good at forcing weak contact.
The southpaw delivers to the plate, misses inside. Actually, it hits him. Issued by the umpire, Scott Ginger, behind the plate today. Neil Turner, the crew chief, at first, and Max Ponce at third base. A base runner leads things off in the top of the second. Now the righty Michael Ball, who we just mentioned, got that single off of Volker. He came all the way around to third in the top of the 9th, threatening to come back from what was a mighty deficit at the time, 10-3 heading into the 9th. They were trying to start something off of one of the toughest people to do so. Garrett Van Deventer misses outside, and that's going to issue Pappas a mound visit to make sure his head's on straight here. A walk, and now a ball 1 to Michael Ball.
Sometimes these conversations between a pitcher and catcher can be more about mixed signals than where the pitcher is actually ending up. I don't think Pappas and Van Deventer have had too much miscommunication this season, but it might be a concept of calming him down as well and just telling him that when he signals for a pitch, he wants it in the zone.
Michael Ball, a .324 hitter, and that's really the middle of the line for when you look at these stats for the Missoula Paddleheads. Pitch misses outside for ball 2.
Oh, boy, can they hit.
They sure can. A total batting average of .336.
Good enough for 4th in the Pioneer League.
Next pitch to Ball, misses inside.
Of course, they do walk more than anyone else as well. They lead the league in walks drawn at now 556. They have struck out the fewest number of times as well, down at 491.
3-0, and now make that 558 because the first walk and the second walk add on to that 556 heading into today. And now Jerome Williams is going to need to make a quick mound visit here. 557, I'll correct that.
And another mound visit here, but this time Jerome Williams has done such a fantastic job at noticing the small things. We've been talking about this for the past 2 weeks, that he has a knack for looking from a distance and finding one small fix. We saw it yesterday. Jack Martin fell into a rut during the early innings. Jerome Williams came out there, talked to him, and snap. He's back to his old self. Martin goes on and earns the win. He now leads the team with 7. Jerome Williams, a lot of these players have said he is one of the key factors in pushing them back into the right groove.
Not only did he snap back into himself, but Jack Martin snapped into a version of himself we haven't seen in this month of August, getting himself a win in this homestand. A spin off the mound by Van Deventer. Runners at first and second with nobody out. Here in the top of the second, no score. And Tai Yukamoto to the dish. The lefty is 3 for 6 this series. Corners creeping in, but there's a hard line drive foul atop the Troy Tulowitzki hitting facility in right field. Strike one, the first strike in a while. Only the second strike in now 3 batters faced for Garrett Van Deventer this inning thus far. Time called. Pitts needs to get the ball off the field. Throws it into the Jared Weaver bullpen.
Underrated part of indie ball is that once you go past a certain distance, the ball boys become the, well, boys on the field, the players.
Everybody helps out everybody at this level. 0-1 to Yukamoto. He bends with the pitch. That misses below the knees for ball 1. The left fielder today, and then the lineup will be finished out with Elliott Good and Michael Kozuski. Kozuski drops a couple spots in the lineup. Yesterday he was in the 5 spot, really the last 2 nights. And now a second hit by pitch, loads up the bases with nobody out. Here comes some danger for Garrett Van Deventer. How will he work out of it?
Well, at a point like this, go back to what we've been saying. Attack the strike zone. Bases are loaded. The Paddleheads want to swing in a scenario like this. Let them.
You got to trust the defense. And Elliott Good would be somebody good to trust with hitting into weak contact, because on the series he's 0 for 8, the third-year Pioneer leaguer, formerly of 2 years with the Ogden Raptors. The shortstop tonight. Started the season in the American Association. Good pops up in foul territory. Cooper Vest under it. Plenty of room. He makes out number 1.
Ask and you shall receive, right?
Absolutely. Maybe you had to fragment that to sound more like Yoda. Receive and you shall ask.
Yes. I'm trying to think of how would you say that?
Receive you shall after asking.
Oh, yeah,
Receive you shall, ask you must.
Is the voice of Yoda still alive? Frank Oz?
I don't know.
I think he
hope
recently
so.
passed away. So I don't know if you can ask him. Michael Kozuski has 1 out and the bases loaded. The pitch to the 8th spot, rather the 8th spot defensively, the center fielder. 9th spot in the lineup, takes strike 1.
This is a peculiar inning for Van Deventer because he's never hit more than 2 batters in a game. That was on July 23rd against Oakland. Now he's done it in 1 frame.
The 0-1 to Kozuski. Thinks about going, but it misses low. A 1-1 count on the center fielder, who yesterday had the RBI single in the top of the 3rd. That got the second run across for a 2-0 advantage. That only lasted about an inning and a half. 1-1, swings at the breaking ball in the dirt.
By the way, I do have good news for you. Frank Oz is still alive, and he is a happy 82 years old.
Wonderful.
So I guess you could say that Kermit the Frog is still here.
Does he also voice Kermit?
Yeah, he's the progenitor of the Muppets
Okay.
and Sesame Street.
He does a lot. Was I right on the money for Yoda
Well, with Jim Henson, I guess he is. So Jim Henson probably did the voice. But yes, Frank Oz did do the voice of Yoda.
Okay. A lot of small fictional green characters.
Yeah.
1 and 2. Misses low and outside. Now an even 2-2 count on Kozuski. 1 for 3 on the series. Or rather, 1 for 3 last night, a couple of walks. He's got a couple of hits this series. 1 in each of the first 2 games. The series tied up at 1 apiece. The next pitch misses low. Third 3-ball count in now 5 batters faced. Bases loaded, and this next pitch will need to find a spot here. Payoff pitch up the first base line and foul. Lucky break there.
There's probably some Star Wars quote that has to do with luck versus good fortune. But Van Deventer threw a pitch high and inside that should have jammed Kazuski, so he pulled around faster on it, and that sharp angle forced it foul. So that is a good decision on both parts because Kazuski easily could have found himself tied up there, but Van Deventer still went to a smart pitch.
Van Deventer, the leg lift, and again, the payoff pitch, a high Baltimore chop. He's going to need to be quick with it. He has no throw. Everybody's safe, and the Paddleheads take the first lead of the game 1-0 on the infield single.
Well, I hate on Star Wars Day to bring up a Star Trek quote, but Captain Picard does say that you can do everything right and still fail. That is not unfair. That is life. And there, Garrett Van Deventer does everything right. He throws a hittable pitch, forces weak contact, but it takes that high chop off the early grass, and Long Beach still ends up losing a run there.
Enzo Apodaca and his team now with the new lead takes strike one. They've taken the first lead of now all three of these initial games of this series, this 6-game set. We'll finish it out this weekend, Regulators night tomorrow. 1-1, breaking ball. Apodaca bends with the pitch for a 1-1 count. Now 1 for 8 on the series. Trying to work into a big inning here that started off with 3 free bases, including 2 hit by pitches. 1-1 in the dirt. Nice block there by Pappas to keep it in front of him. Garrett Van Deventer, prior to this game, like you mentioned, does not often hit batters. Only 3 prior in his 11 appearances this season. And now 2 in the first 3 batters of this top of the second. Ground ball past Rosengard into left field. It's going to score one more. Station to station, everybody goes. It's 2-0. RBI single for Enzo Apodaca, his second hit of the series. Back-to-back RBI base knocks for Nick Klemp, who got the Paddleheads up on the board first. It was the first home run of the series as well. Sent one into right center, sent a charge into right center. And later in the game got the third and final run across. That was in the 6th off of Brett Wozniak, who worked out of the pen, called strike after his start on Sunday. So he's going to bounce back and forth between the pen and the starting rotation, it appears, until he's ready to give a shot at a true and fair potential 5-inning outing. Breaking ball misses low and inside. That's a pitch that Garrett Van Deventer has been trying a lot this inning, much to no avail. Van Deventer from the stretch. The bases loaded and 1 out. Misses low and inside. Nick Klemp flew out to right field his last time up. Ball behind Van Deventer's back, now in his glove, right above his belt. Ground ball into left field. That's going to score yet again another run, maybe 2. Soft throw in from Pelk. It's a 2-run single for Nick Klemp, make it 4-0. They double their lead. The Paddleheads take charge in this inning. 8th batter of the inning, due up in Bryce Sermonelli.
Again, not much more you can say than Van Deventer is doing the right thing by attacking the zone. It's hard to keep your confidence, but also the inning doesn't get to this point without the 2-hit batsman and a walk.
Runners now just at first and second. Sermonelli takes the breaking ball for ball 1 inside. Van Deventer not getting ahead of the count right now, as he has been known to do in the past. The former Jackson State product. Bouncing ball up the first base line.
And it is worth noting that Vandy's roommate, Gary Grosjean, is loosening up in the right field Jared Weaver bullpen.
He came in to save Brett Wozniak on Sunday after the lead was given up on a 3-run shot by Noah Blythe. Gary Grosjean worked a clean 3 innings. We'll talk about if he steps on the mound. But now a 1-1 count to Sermonelli up the middle. Anthony Mata gets there in time and then gets it to first for out number 2. Both runners advance, but no runs score on that 6-3 putout. Mata's got range for days. And now he gets the coveted second out. Xavier Casarilla. It's the 9th batter of this top of the second. The Paddleheads up 4-0. This time the breaking ball on the first pitch works. A swing and a miss for Casarilla. Came into this series batting .388. Since then, his batting average has been shaved by 6 batting average points, which doesn't seem like a lot, but 1 for 8 now in the series. Foul ball onto Park Avenue, first base side. Van Deventer just a pitch away from getting out of this inning. That was started by Nate Vargas, who's currently in the on-deck circle. A hit by pitch on a 3-1 count. 3 straight free bases, all now that have come around to score a run. Shot into right field, but it's going to hold for Robert Pitts. That leaves 2 stranded in scoring position, but the damage is done. Now the Coast batsmen need to get to work in the bottom of the second. It's 4-0 Paddleheads here on the Coast Media Network. Bottom of the second, Spence Kaufman is going to take the plate. Spence Kaufman, who has been fantastic, will need to be right now with a 4-0 deficit. And the first pitch to Kaufman, breaking ball, finds the edge of the zone outside for strike 1. Came to the organization from the Red Pocket Mobiles just in this homestand alone. Slaps one in the air towards right center. Apodaca waits under it for out number 1. And right now could be a pivotal inning, even though we're just here in the bottom of the second. Still a long ways to go from the final out of this ball game. But after you put up a 4 spot, you have to find a way to respond. They even did so in the very first game of this series. 3-1 was the final score. After a 3 spot by the Paddleheads in the top of the second, the Coast responded with a run. Now, sure, they didn't catch up at any point in the game. Neither did the Paddleheads. That was the only run production of the first game. Anthony Mata was not a factor of that first game. Or actually, rather, he was. He did get an RBI in that game. Up the third base line, and it's fair. Sermonelli chases it down with a single. The very first hit of the game for the Long Beach Coast.
Well, that looked very similar to the swing that ended up with a ground out to bring home a run on Tuesday for Mata. This time it ends up at a sharper angle down the line, and that's a really tough play for Sermonelli at third. He's reaching across his body, sort of diving back after it.
Anthony Mata is not a guy you want on the base paths, especially with less than 2 outs. Johnny Pappas, a soft contact up the third base line, a swinging bunt. Close play at first, gets him at first. Now Mata tries for third. He's safe. Goes at it aggressively on the base paths on the hit and run on the essentially swinging bunt. Now 2 bases for Mata, puts him just 90 feet away from becoming the first run on the board for the Long Beach Coast. However, there are 2 outs.
Well, we have seen plays like that this season where Long Beach gets aggressive, and we've seen them most frequently of late. Setting and resetting the team's stolen base record over the last 2 weeks, and now Anthony Mata, who appeared with multiple steals in both of those games, including a team record 4, is the person starting off this fire drill here.
And Robert Pitts now will get his first at-bat of the series, and there's a pause in the action right now.
Missoula manager Michael Schlacht appears to have an issue with that call at third by Pete Cicedo, and rather by Max Ponce, and I think he's arguing that Mata should have been out, but the ball got to third baseman Sermonelli while Mata was still in transit, but Sermonelli was a good maybe 10 feet off the bag, so Mata did beat him there. He swam underneath the tag. I don't know how you sitting in the third base dugout can even argue that.
Well, it's been a stressful series for Schlacht, even though he did get the series opener. There have been some scuffles with this umpire crew and the 6th-year Pioneer League veteran, the 2021 Manager of the Year, Robert Pitts, right back up the middle. And Martinez gets it to first in time for out number 3. So despite the impressive base running from Anthony Mata, getting just 90 feet away from scoring, Martinez records the shutdown inning. And his team, the Paddleheads, still lead 4-0 heading into the third. We'll be right back on the Coast Media Network. An early relief appearance for Garrett Van Deventer, who leaves after 2 innings of work, 4 hits, 4 runs on the board for the Paddleheads, who lead 4-0. Gary Grosjean came into the game on Sunday after Brett Wozniak coming back from an injury. 58 days since his last start. Grosjean handled the middle 3 innings. 3 1/3 innings pitched, and in those first 3 innings, he was perfect. 5 strikeouts, and now he's going to try and take charge for his roommate, Garrett Van Deventer. Nate Vargas, the first batsman for the Missoula PaddleHeads, takes outside for ball 1. He started off last inning. All 9 batted for the Missoula PaddleHeads. He was hit by the pitch. 3 free bases for Garrett Van Deventer, all of which scored. 1-0 in the dirt for ball 2. And Gary Grosjean, this is interesting. The last time he faced off against the Missoula PaddleHeads was Game 3 of the divisional round of last year when he was with the Idaho Falls Chuckers, who went on to the championship and were just a game away from winning it all over the Oakland Ballers. The Ballers took the 2025 McCurdy Cup. So perhaps some soured memories of the past. That was a 23-6 victory, by the way. The Chuckers in 2025 were just different. 3-0 misses high. Gary Grosjean, much like Garrett Van Deventer last inning, starts things off with a free base.
Different from this year's team in the sense that they haven't lost games where they scored more than 20 runs.
Well, yes, but also in the sense that I think that the Long Beach Coast has a far better pitching staff than the 2025 Chuckers. Now, I know it's kind of crazy to say that because a lot of these pitchers on the Long Beach Coast are from the 2025 Idaho Falls roster. My recollection last year of the Chuckers is that they were not the best pitching rotation by any standards, not in a long shot, but it was their offense that could always catch up and provide run support. And that ties us into the conversation we've been having all week about run support early on for the pitching staff. Ranked the best pitching staff in all of Indy Ball by Corner Stripe. Michael Ball now in a 2-1 deposition.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good when your starting rotation one day is ranked the best in the entire country, and the next day you wake up seeing that your bullpen as well has earned that honor.
Grosjean, initially a starter at the beginning of this season, went on the IL, and he's found a role in the bullpen ever since coming back. Now a 3-1 count for Michael Ball, who walked on 4 pitches.
Well, we talk about utility players as position players, but Grosjean short innings and long outings.
3-1 popped up. Right field line, Pitts charging the line. He's not going to have a play there. It's on top of the hitting facility.
We've seen Gary head out there for outings as short as a couple pitches. We've seen him go out there for 3 or 4 innings. He really is your Mr. Fix-It for this team.
Well, he doesn't need to fix anything necessarily here, but rather just hold. And the next pitch misses for ball 4, so back-to-back walks. Start off a little bit more trouble for the Long Beach Coast defense.
Well, the good thing is that there really is no Obi-Wan Kenobi on this team in respect to how he's introduced from Princess Leia as my only hope, because there is a wealth of talent in the bullpen that can substitute on short notice and on short rest if need be. But Grosjean has definitely been one of the more reliable arms.
Lefty Yukamoto takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. No challenges yet in this game. Line drive up the left field line. Pelk charges, and it falls foul. That was close right there, heading towards the corner. Runners at first and second. Vargas and Ball retreating back to said bags. Ball, the trail runner, tying his shoes right now. Yukamoto hit by the pitch. He was one of the 2 hit by pitches last inning. Top of the third, 4-0 Paddleheads. One on the ground. Rosengard, a couple of hops into his glove, around the horn for a double play. The lead runner, Nate Vargas, gets to third, but a big momentum killer for the Paddleheads. 2 outs for Elliott Good.
I'm still smiling after the way you described a play like that yesterday as ring around the Rosengard. Glad we get to see it again.
Yes, indeed. And he was around the base paths as well yesterday with a triple. That RBI triple that we talked about that changed things for the Coast, and that's really all it takes for the Coast. One big inning like they had yesterday, and then they could coast on to victory, pun intended. Elliott Good takes strike one. Slow leg lift from Grosjean, throwing across his body and just missing outside on that fastball there. Good amount of horizontal break on the righty from Truckee, California's arm. 1-1 slips outside. Good on the first pitch, popped out for the very first out of an inning that did not start out very favorably for Garrett Van Deventer. Check swing, breaking ball. They referred down to Neil Turner, but Scott Ginger had the final say. 2-2 count now.
I've never seen that before. The catcher looks to first before the home plate umpire gives a signal, and then they end up agreeing.
Grosjean with the 2-2 count. Misses above the head. Look out. Playing with his mind there. Using Jedi mind tricks, perhaps, on Elliott Good. Still a 3-2 count.
These aren't the pitches you're looking for.
Not in this case. Payoff pitch misses outside. It's the third walk in 4 batters faced for Gary Grosjean, who still has 2 outs. Can still get out of it. But right now, that was a great opportunity. You had a 2-2 count. You want to follow up with what your defense just did for you. Getting that ground ball, turning it into 2 outs. There's still a run threatening at third base. Michael Kozuski now to the plate. He got an RBI single, an infield RBI single with the bases loaded. He just slammed the ball right in front of home plate, and it went a mile high. Much like the altitude over there in Missoula. Maybe not a mile high, but 1-0 count for Kozuski. Another pitch that misses, this time inside for a 2-0 count. Kozuski now has reached in 4 of his past 5 plate appearances. Hard contact into center field, but Corona comes in for out number 3. Potential danger with another 3 free bases. This time Gary Grosjean gets out of trouble and gets a 0 on the board. 4-0 Paddleheads heading into the bottom of the third. You're listening to Coast Baseball on the Coast Media Network. Baby Yoda, a.k.a. Grogu, in the crowd. It is Star Wars night, and for the Long Beach Coast, they've been trailing right now 4-0 since the top of the second. Eddie Pelk will lead things off against Mason Martinez, who has evaded trouble, much like Gary Grosjean just did. 3 walks and left 2 stranded. A double play helped him out. Eddie Pelk is going to try and help out his now 2-year teammate, Gary Grosjean, who came in for Garrett Vandeventer. Joey Miller, Jesse Cook. Pelk takes the first pitch outside for ball 1. Called strike to even up the count at 1 apiece. And the greatest teacher failure is, that has been this past weekend for the Coast. It's the 1-1 misses high for ball 2. That's a Star Wars reference if you didn't catch it there.
Yes, well, it fits better in the Yoda voice.
Well, you'll check in by the end of this broadcast. I might be sounding like Yoda. Pitch misses outside for a 3-1 count to Eddie Pelk, who already took a walk, and that's nothing new for this guy at Grand Canyon University. 3-1, foul ball, left field side towards the Steve Traxel bullpen, which so far has seemed to not need any help right now or needed any action. Martinez making an immediate first impression, only 1 hit throughout the first round of the lineup, and 3 base runners, 3 strikeouts as well. Well, there's hit number 2. Eddie Pelk in the hit category. A leadoff single for the leadoff man, the Pelk man delivering. Ice cold here on this Thursday night. Emilio Corona, who is no stranger to entering the hit column, will step up to the plate here. His last hit, a 3-run home run last night. That was some good insurance for Zach Volker, but although insurance is always great, Zach Volker, you can put him into just about any situation and he's going to lock in. Swing and a miss for strike 1 on Corona. That home run last night, by the way, was one of 2 home runs for Emilio Corona in this very homestand. Pops up. It's not going to leave the park this time. Towards right field, Apodaca ranges inside for out number 1. Brings up Cooper Vest. A strikeout victim after 2 got aboard. Eddie Pelk and Emilio Corona walked to start out Mason Martinez's outing in the bottom of the first, but Cooper Vest started a downhill trend. 3 straight strikeouts that finished out the bottom of the first. Called strike. Entered this game 76 degrees and partly cloudy, and right now the Paddleheads looking to rain on the Coast's parade. 0-1 in the dirt. Good news for the Coast is that there aren't many clouds in the sky, at least in outer space.
Well, there's particulate
nebulas.
clouds,
Yeah.
nebulas. There's ion storms. Those are big problems in Star Trek.
1-1 misses inside.
I haven't watched the latest episode of Star Trek's Strange New Worlds, but generally any transporter issue, switching bodies, switching universes is caused by ion storms. Those are clouds.
Martinez, the 2-1. Breaking ball absolutely ties up Cooper Vest for a 2-strike count now. That's the same pitch that got him swinging and missing for the first strikeout on the night for Martinez. Runner at first, 1 out. 2-2 on the ground, and he was early to that one as well, but makes contact. And, to your point, I'm also interested or semi-invested in the Star Trek world. And I don't think I've seen a Star Trek night, at least at the indie ball level. I've seen plenty of Star Wars
I think the
nights.
Brooklyn Cyclones have done it.
They try a lot of things. Ground ball right side. Ball gets it to Casarilla. Eddie Pelk advances to second. There's out number 2. Cuba Bess will be the last hope, maybe a new hope, to score the potential first run of this game. Took till the bottom of the 4th for the Coast Bats to wake up. Cuba Bess now in this homestand 5 for 30. His bat started to wake up yesterday, and now a loud contact ground ball towards ball. Same result as Cooper Bess. That'll end the inning, leaving the leadoff base hit by Eddie Pelk stranded. Martinez works another 0. 3 straight zeros for the new starter for the Paddleheads. And now we head into the middle 3, where Jesse Cook will take you through those on this 4-0 occasion. Paddleheads in charge on the Coast Media Network.
Top of the 4th inning on the way with the Missoula Paddleheads leading the Long Beach Coast. 4 runs to nothing as we move on with Gary Grosjean back on the bump, the right-hander facing the top of the Missoula order, and the lefty Enzo Apodaca. To my right, Joey Miller, I'm Jesse Cook. Thank you for joining us. Righty to lefty, first pitch, fastball misses up high. The Long Beach reliever in his 2nd inning of work. Last time he faced these Paddleheads, he was a starter for the Idaho Falls Chuckers, and it was playoff time. Out of the stretch. Another heater up high, 2-0 count. Game 1 of the postseason last year. The Chuckers ended up winning their best-of-3 series against Missoula. Gary Grosjean taking the win in Game 1. 2-0. Fastball at the belt at 90 miles per hour for strike 1. 2-1 count. Bases empty. Nobody out. Top 4, 4-0 Missoula. Grosjean, 7 innings of work against them back in September. 2-1, swung on and popped up shallow center field. The shortstop, Anthony Mata, back on it, and he makes the catch at his chest. 1 away after Mata comes up with that one. We've seen him already in this game make some pretty spectacular efforts to reach far-ranging ground balls. Robbed Bryce Sermonelli of a hit. He's waiting on deck. Here comes Nick Klemp. This part of the order. Now 3 for 7. Apodaca now 1 for 3 with a double, scoring a run in the 2nd. Klemp a 2-run single right after that. Righty-righty affair. High leg kick, swing and a miss. 0-1 count. In that game last year, Grosjean earning the win with 4 runs and 7 total strikeouts against a very similar Paddleheads team. Out of the stretch once again. Fastball called a strike, low and away.
You know, I mentioned earlier how the Idaho Falls Chuckers pitching rotation was not the best rotation that you'd see. Gary Grosjean was the exception. Gary Grosjean shoved every single time that I saw him. You didn't really get to see him much with the Rocky Mountain vibes.
Next pitch misses. It's a 1-2 count.
It's actually one of the first things that I said to him when I met him just a couple months ago. And I said, you remember that team that you absolutely dominated? Well, yeah, I was the broadcaster. Thanks.
Well, how about that? 1-2. Nub to the backstop. Grosjean, last year with Idaho Falls, ended up dealing a .545 earned run average. But keep in mind, he followed up that season with a winter in the Australian League for the Perth Heat. And there he was untouchable. A .169 earned run average. And he struck out 23 batters across 32 innings. 1-2. Sways outside. 2-2 count. Klemp leaning back in. We talked about his home run yesterday, part of a 2-for-5 line with 2 RBIs. 2-2. Swinging a tapper towards short. There's Mata again. At the ankles, that bounces off the palm of his mitt for an error, and Klemp is aboard. A tough play on that slow roller, but even so, that hits Mata in the glove and bounces away. So there is a runner on first after the error. Brings up Bryce Sermonelli, who singled to center in the first inning, but grounded out, like we talked about, to Anthony Mata. 4-0. The Paddleheads lead in the top of the fourth. 1 away, 1 on. Righty pitching to a lefty and Sermonelli. Grosjean tilts his head down, throws over to first short arm. Best scoops it, but makes no attempt to tag. Now back to the CSU Bakersfield product on the mound. Grosjean, the Roadrunner, here it is. Swung on and popped foul to the left side, 0-1 count. And some pink clouds in the distance here at Blair Field have faded off over the Pacific Ocean to a beautiful royal purple up above, pierced only by the LEDs and those tealish green California magnolias beyond the outfield. Grosjean wearing a similarly teal hat. The pitch, swing and a miss. 0-2 count. Chases that one up high.
That was one of those late decision swings. When you're challenged with a 90-mile-per-hour fastball, you just have to commit.
High heat from the former Perth Heat ace. He commits the 0-2, and that one sails. 1-2 count. What a journey for Gary Grosjean. He's teammates in 2022 with Jacob Jablonski and Anthony Mata with the Portland Pickles. One stop along the way. 1-2, swung on and missed. Gary Grosjean's first strikeout of his relief appearance. Makes it a 2-out situation here in the top of the fourth. Missoula still ahead 4-0 with a runner on first base. But Grosjean starts his college career up at San Francisco State. Spends 2 summers in Portland, off down to the Central Valley with CSUB, then Idaho Falls, then Australia, then here. Next pitch, misses high and inside to the righty, Xavier Casarilla. Keep in mind, we have the Cook quiz coming up in the bottom half of this inning. We'll get the answer in the top of the fifth with a special guest. 1-0, swing and a miss. 1-1 count. You can always guess on the Cook quiz by commenting on our YouTube stream or reaching out on X at Long Beach Coast or at Jesse Cook TV. And if you look at my Twitter, well, then you'll see the question in advance, and you'll see a hint about who's helping me on this. 1-1, swerves in for a strike. 1-2 count. Well, Gary Grosjean looking to continue a solid stretch of baseball. He has not allowed more than 2 runs in an appearance in any of his last 6 outings. His 1-2, up high. 2-2 count here on a beautiful 78-degree Long Beach night. The royal purple skies interrupted only by those lights up above and a couple cornflower blue and pink clouds up above. A light breeze off the shoreline blowing towards third base from deep in right field, keeping any of these big swings in the ballpark for the most part. Only 2 home runs across the first 2 games of this series, 1 per side. 2-2. Grosjean, low leg kick. And he leaves that one upstairs once again. Full count, runner on first, 2 away, top 4. Paddleheads ahead by a quartet. 4-0. Grosjean, black glove at the belt, toes the rubber. Runner moving, here it is. Drops inside for ball 4. 4 walks so far for Grosjean. First in this frame for the 26-year-old. That brings up Nate Vargas. He probably would have walked his first time up if not for being the victim of a pitch inside and high as a hit batsman. But he walked his second time up. The first was against the lefty Garrett Van Deventer. His roommate Gary Grosjean issuing the second. So it's Klemp on second base, Casarilla on first, and now Nate Vargas batting on the left side. Caught a glimpse at him last night, pinch hitting in the later frames and singling. Missoula punched through with a couple pinch hit singles in that 9th inning. Righty to lefty. Misses outside and middle on the 85-mile-per-hour changeup. 1-0 count. Grosjean working with a 4-seam fastball, sinker, slider, and that aforementioned change. 1-0. Steps on home, swinging a tapper to the backstop. 1-1 count. The sounds in the background of baseball on Star Wars night, chewing on hot dogs and Chewbacca. 1-1. Framed high and away, but not inside the picture. 2-1 count. The fastball 90 miles per hour looked close, but not close enough. Grosjean stares in. Takes a heavy breath. His 2-1. Misses up high and away. Walks not normally a problem for this Long Beach pitching staff. A team with the second best average of walks and hits per innings pitched in the Pioneer League and the fewest walks issued in the entire league as well at 334. Well, that's climbed up in this game. Garrett Van Deventer issuing just 1, but 4 for Grosjean, so that's 339 as a whole. 3-1. Finds its way in, backdoor on the fastball. The 4-seamer hitting for a full count once again. Both runners are forced. There are 2 away. 4-0 Paddleheads, top 4. Both Nick Klemp on second and Xavier Casarilla on first will be running with the pitch. And the fielders know it. They're letting him go, not holding him. And here they go. And there's walk 340 for the Coast on the year. Grosjean shouting into his mitt after falling outside there. Catcher Johnny Pappas taking a turn with his right-handed arm to chat with him. And we saw him try to talk down Garrett Van Deventer. Now here he is with Grosjean, and he's doing it with a timeline because there is action in the Long Beach bullpen. I believe that may be Jackson Bird warming up. Well, there's not too many options on the left side in the bullpen. It's either him, Brett Wozniak, or Jake Dixon.
And that's common in this level of indie ball. Not a lot of lefties out of the pen. There's only 1 for the Missoula Paddleheads, but looking at what happened last night, 8 walks. That led to a lot of base runners. Jack Martin kept things quiet, as did the back half of the bullpen. But the first night, only 1 walk the entire game. That's what kept it a low-scoring game.
Well, trying to keep it low-scoring. First pitch to Michael Ball. The righty nails it to the backstop foul. 0-1 count. Well, we talked about how Nate Vargas had earned a couple free passes. 1 painful, but now 2 walks to complement the hit by pitch. Michael Ball, he's seen a lot of those. 0 for 0 with a pair of walks as well. That's only the 3rd time he's seen a strike. Grosjean's 0-1. Attacking here, ball swings and flies it to right field straight away. Robert Pitts searching for it. He lunges, he makes the catch. Well, Missoula threatens The collar for Long Beach growing tight, but Gary Grosjean prevails with a shutout and actually no-hit frame. We move on to the bottom of the fourth inning with Rosengard, Kaufman, and Mata due up 5, 6, and 7 for Long Beach when we return on the Long Beach Baseball Network. Moving on into the bottom of the fourth inning, Long Beach still trailing the Missoula PaddleHeads. It's a 4-0 lead for the visitors who head out into the field. Still Mason Martinez, the right-hander, in his Pioneer League debut, shutting down the coast. His first task here in the fourth, left-handed hitting Benjamin Rosengard, followed by Spence Kaufman and Anthony Mata, 5, 6, and 7 in the coast order. Out of the windup, first pitch. He swings, tags that one down the third base side and just foul. Missoula's infield playing with the middle infielders back, but the corners in for Rosengard. And that strikes me as an unexpected strategy given how Rosengard powered the ball yesterday with a 2-for-4 line, including a triple. 0-1, high leg kick. Misses low and away. The Amarillo, Texas native on the mound, pitching to Rosengard out of Chicago, Illinois. Sways on home. Rosengard leans back, the fastball off the hands, high and inside. That purple sky we were talking about during the last half inning, now fading off to cornflower blue, giving the LEDs a brighter shine. 2-1. Rosengard shines his shoes with that ball as that's over the shoelaces. 3-1 count. Their baby blue Father's Day Nike issued shoes gifted to him by pitching coach Jerome Williams. So Rosengard with some style, crowding the plate, 3-1. Stares at the fastball, that's a strike. Middle and away, 88 miles per hour there. Missoula ahead 4-0. Nobody on, nobody out, bottom of the fourth. And a full count for Benjamin Rosengard. Batting .352 in his just about month with Long Beach. Martinez, black glove at his eyes. Nods, pitch clock down at 3. Here it is. Rosengard keeps his bat in check, and the curveball misses high and away. Third walk issued by Martinez in this game. It boards Rosengard with nobody out in the bottom of the fourth inning. Long Beach trailing 4-0. And here comes Spence Kaufman. Well, if Benjamin Rosengard has had a solid start to his time in Long Beach, well, Spence Kaufman has had one that on Star Wars night is beyond stellar. Kaufman, a .370 line in just about a week and a half since being traded from the Mobiles. Righty to righty, he swings, tags that one up the middle, charging from short. Elliott Good fields at the ankles, throws to first, and just barely catches his fellow infielder. Kaufman, who's played all around the infield this past week. Nabbed at first by maybe half a step. That moves Rosengard into scoring position with 1 out. 4-0 Missoula, bottom of the 4th. And here comes Anthony Mata, who boarded the bases on a shallow infield single last time up, but he hit it hard, forcing Bryce Sermonelli at third to lunge across his body down the line just to keep the ball from heading into the corner for extra bases. Out of the stretch, he swings, tips this one to second. Michael Ball has it, lobs it to first for out number 2, and Rosengard moves up to third. But Long Beach is at risk of stranding a runner in scoring position for the 4th time in as many innings. Here comes catcher Johnny Pappas, another righty. By the way, we're about to play the Cook quiz, and we're wondering which father-son duo amounted to the highest number of big league strikeouts as a pitcher. Righty to righty, Pappas watches. Fastball for a strike, low and inside. We'll get the answer in the top half of the 5th inning. So, father and son who both recorded at least 1/3 of an inning pitched in baseball. 0-1, Pappas swings and dribbles this to short. There's good. Shuffling on to first. The throw is on time and on target. And Long Beach strands a runner in scoring position in the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th, and leaves for the 5th, trailing 4-0. We move on with more on the Long Beach Baseball Network. Top of the 5th inning on the way in Long Beach, California. Blair Field playing host to a 4-0 lead for the visitors. The Missoula Paddleheads head back to the plate against the new pitcher, Jackson Bird, the left-hander for Long Beach. Facing Tai Yukamoto, another lefty. Jesse Cook with you on the mic, and to my right, Ben Cook, my dad, joining me on the broadcast. Welcome to California, by the way. Welcome back, but welcome to the LBC, I should say.
Once again, you're taking a massive risk with your career here. You put me on, and you've admitted that
we're related.
Yes. So
well, people were going to figure it out eventually. 0-1, rope down the first base side and foul. 0-2 count now. Now you've played almost every Cook quiz.
I try,
and you do pretty well.
Okay.
So I'm wondering for this one, since father-son on the broadcast here, which father-son combo has recorded the highest number of strikeouts at the major league level?
You mean as pitchers, not
yes.
as hitters? Okay.
0-2.
Well, I got to think about that.
Lunge down the first base side. Cooper Vest waiting on it. He jogs to the bag for the out. I also remember before the season, you texted me And it was just a photo of the roster sheet with Cooper Vest on it because you listened to all the games that I called in the Alaska League with Cooper Vest on the Matsu Miners for my team. So it's been cool for me to have you, my mom, Clara, my sister here, because all of you have done such a great job at following my career. And it's very cool because I get to listen to you perform, too, at these big moments. And Gillette Stadium, Patriots fans will get to hear you, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Me and 80 other people.
That's right. For those of you who don't know, my dad here is the pianist in the Boston Pops Orchestra, and I know at some point this weekend our organist here, Jeff Liffman, said he wants to meet you. And I know you have high praise for Jeff.
He's great. Yeah, I'm enjoying everything that Jeff does. That's he almost sounds a little overqualified for the ballpark organ job. And believe me, I have a good friend who's the Bruins organist, Ron Poster, up in Boston, and I think Jeff may be kind of he may be classing up this joint a little beyond what most organists do.
He's doing a great job. 0-2 count here
I gotta
for
think about this.
Elliot Good. Yeah,
pitchers, fathers, and sons. I mean, I got to think out loud here.
Swing and a miss there.
Because there aren't that many of them. I mean, I can think of Joe Necro and his son, but Lance was a hitter. He's not a pitcher. I'm not sure I'm going to get this in half an inning here.
By the way, we're also posing for pictures, too. I'm asking you to do a whole lot. Special thank you to our social media manager, Alana Johnson. We got multiple angles here.
Wow.
And the Coast are giving you a ridiculously quick inning here. Jackson Bird is being efficient.
Can you give me a hint on this? Because since we're running out of time.
Well, I'll tell you right now. My cousin, your nephew Isaac, works in aerospace.
Right.
And what does that normally produce?
Airplanes.
Well, think a little.
Ships?
Yeah, rocket ships.
Oh, so.
We already have a guess. I do have to shout out at Joshua Min 13. We have him at tons of games covering this team. So thanks, Joshua, for tuning in. But he guesses what I imagine you might come up with.
Well, Roger Clemens doesn't have any kids that are pitchers.
I didn't ask if they were pitchers. I asked if they had recorded a strikeout as a pitcher.
Okay, so they have to have recorded one. So you're saying like Cody Clemens maybe struck one guy out.
He could have.
Somewhere. Okay.
Maybe.
All right. That seems
It's complicated.
To be where you're,
it's a
by
trick.
The way, I want you to know.
One might even say, like your favorite Admiral Akbar quote, "It's a trap." Here on Star Wars
By the way,
Day.
you know that your mom and your sister were over there planning 1,000 Star Wars puns that I'm
Jeez.
supposed to be, like as soon as ball 4 came in, we all looked at each other and said, "Oh, he walked."
How's the Lego R2D2 coming along?
Almost done.
Oh, wow.
We're doing pretty good with that one.
2-2. That misses low and away. You might get a little extra time here if Jackson Bird keeps dancing around the zone.
Yeah, so I guess that's from your hint. That must be it. But I'm wondering. I'm trying to think of just father and son pitchers that have both.
There aren't a lot.
Yeah, it's well, there's Jack Leiter, right?
Jack and Al Leiter.
But Al had a great career, lefty for the Mets and Marlins and other teams. But I don't think. I mean, he certainly did. Clemens is up in the 4,000 plus strikeout range or 3,000 at least.
Who I know by your metric. Would you care to explain your system for determining the most dominant players of all time?
You're
a bigger baseball nerd than I am.
In my spare, well, that's good. I did grow up in Cincinnati in the 1970s, which was a great place to be a kid and learn about baseball because we had a very transcendent team, as you know. Every kid in Cincinnati,
of course, the Big Red Machine.
Every kid could name all the great 8, the Reds starting lineup of bench: Perez, Morgan, Concepcion, Rose, Foster, Geronimo, Griffey. Everybody knew that stuff. So I have been obsessed with it for a long time. But I had an idea.
Runner moving for second, throw down, tag applied late. So the Paddleheads leading 4-0 have a runner in scoring position with 2 away and I believe 1-1 count now for Into Apodaca.
I mean, you always hear about all-star appearances being this great determinant of whether a player deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and I for a long time thought, well, all-star appearances are a measure of what kind of first half a player had, and that doesn't really tell the whole story. So I came up with this idea of what would end-of-year all-star rosters look like every year.
This one popped up, center field, Emilio Corona underneath. He makes the catch. That ends the inning. So your system, I think that's a good way of explaining it. Do you have an answer for the Cook quiz? Mr. Cook, Professor Cook.
It's got to be the Clemenses, I suppose.
You bet.
Okay.
And I asked that one not just because dad and son on the broadcast, but because you may remember one of the last Pawtucket Red Sox games we ever went to was the Roger Clemens number retirement in Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Retirement. He was inducted into the International
That's
League
right.
Hall of Fame, which of course is, kind of a surreal situation there because of everything surrounding Clemens. But it was really fun. And
absolutely. And so we talked about the Rocket. Well, here's the pianist. Thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast,
Jesse.
Dad. It's always great to have you on the call. I think it's becoming a yearly tradition, and it's definitely my favorite.
And I hear your mom or your sister may be in the offing this weekend.
Yeah, of course they are.
All right.
Whether they like it or not.
You want to get really brave. Well, I don't think we're going to get your grandmother up here from San Diego, but anyway.
Well, love you, Dad. Thank you
Jess.
for
Love you too.
hopping on for another broadcast, and hope you have fun this weekend. I know I will. We'll be back on the Long Beach Baseball Network. Bottom of the fifth inning on the way. Robert Pitts leading off for Long Beach. The righty, Mason Martinez, throws one in the dirt as Pitts pulls back his bunt attempt. So we're underway. 4-0 Paddleheads, your score. Moving on to the bottom half of this fifth inning. Robert Pitts 0 for 1. Now ahead in the count 1-0. Jesse Cook with you on the mic next to Joey Miller. Joey, thanks for giving my dad a platform during the last inning to yap about baseball.
Oh, anytime.
1-0. Pitts swings and tears it into left field straight away. Down the line, Yukamoto makes the catch. Oh, Pitts rocking that one at 96 miles per hour. Possibly his hardest hit baseball of his young professional career, but it happens to be much like some of the nuclear power that may power these ships in Star Wars here on Star Wars Night, an atom ball. That was a stretch.
Yeah.
Much like the Force can stretch things apart. You know what? We're trying too hard for the Star Wars puns.
We've gone off course.
First pitch to Eddie Pelk, lands for a strike, low and away. Yeah, we'll have to chart something new. But, like you said earlier, do or do not, there is no try. Eddie Pelk hasn't tried to walk this season. He watches the ball there. He simply has. 106. All-time record in the PBL. 1-1, speared up the middle into center field for a knock. Eddie Pelk taking the big, hard turnaround first, but he holds up there. Relay to the infield, back at second base. 1 on, 1 out, bottom 5, 4-0 Missoula. And I wish for our specialty innings where we get these guests that the Long Beach defense would not be so efficient all the time. But Jackson Bird faces 4 batters, walks 1. So my dad only got, I'd say, maybe 3/4 of the way into explaining his convoluted baseball domination measuring system. Here's Emilio Corona on the right side. The pitch. He watches, fastball for a strike, but generally my dad in his free time, just as an unapologetic baseball fan, has created this system for making all-star teams for every year in baseball history. 0-1. Corona lunges after that one. 0-2 count for the Long Beach center fielder.
Maybe he has to make an all-star roster for the Pioneer League. The all-stars that'll be named after the season is over.
Bold of you to assume he doesn't already have one.
Yeah, that's true.
0-2, flip to the back netting. 0-2 count. Everybody has their niche interest, their one hobby, and my family has historically done a fantastic job of combining that niche interest and the hobby. Where baseball is the passion, baseball is the work, and doesn't feel like work. 0-2, Pelk moving for second, laced out towards short on the ground. Good has it, tosses on to first for out number 2. But Eddie Pelk is in scoring position for Long Beach, trailing the Paddleheads 4-0 in the bottom of the 5th inning.
And that's a good move there by Eddie Pelk. Good decision on the hit and run to prevent the end of that inning. Now you have another runner in scoring position, but that has not done well for the Coast.
No, 4 innings, 4 times. Long Beach has pushed a man into scoring position, and 4 times he's been stranded. Cooper Vest with an opportunity to end that trend. Righty to lefty. He swings, hits it hard to second base. Fielded on the slide. Ball has it. Getting up from his knees. Throws to first where Casarilla dives and keeps his foot on the bag to pick it. Well, it's not like Missoula's giving Long Beach any opportunity. Strand a man on second or third 5 times in 5 innings. And there it takes some athleticism from the right side of the Paddleheads infield. Those antlers work out well. We moose on ahead to the top of the 6th inning, 4-0 Paddleheads on the Long Beach Baseball Network. Star Wars Day blasts on into the top of the 6th inning, and it's been blast off for the Missoula Paddleheads. Long Beach sending out Jackson Bird for his 2nd inning of relief, and he shut down Missoula with a no-hit 5th inning. He's facing Nick Klemp, Bryce Sermonelli, and Xavier Casarilla. Well, they have been the fire starters this week for Missoula. Lefty pitching to a righty in Klemp. The first one lands above the belt to make it a 1-0 count. Klemp 1 for 3 with a couple RBIs in this game. Back-to-back 2 RBI days for yesterday, finishing 2 for 5 with a home run. 1-0. Klemp stares at the heater, missing high and away, 2-0 count. Bird out of UC Riverside, brown glove at his chin, turns home. Missing up high and away. 3-0 count. Well, he walked 1 in his first inning. Michael Kazuski. He ended up working his way into scoring position on a stolen base, but he just hung out there for the rest of the frame. 3-0. Drops in for a strike. 3-1 count. Bird perches the ball behind the small of his back, now raises it to his hat. His goatee pointed towards his dugout. Now he tips it home. Foul to the back netting. 3-2 count.
And good on Bird to get back into this count with a breaking ball that seems to be finally working for him again. It did last inning. That got him out of the jam.
That's Bird's most striking pitch, a 12-6 curve with a lot of drop. 3-2, nubbed out to short. Anthony Mata waiting on it, fields at the belt, rockets to first and gets him. Still 4-0 Paddleheads, now one away, nobody on in the top of the 6th inning. How about that rebound for Bird? Starts out behind, 3-0, and follows up with 3 straight hittable pitches to bring up Bryce Sermonelli. He's 1 for 3.
That's a trend that Garrett Vandeventer and Gary Grosjean couldn't do for the 6 walks that they produced. That led to 4 coming across.
Lefty to lefty, Sermonelli swings over the curveball. 0-1 count. Former teammate of Long Beach outfielder who's on the pine today, getting a rest, Matthew Bartowell. Those two playing together at Riverside City College back in 2022. 0-1. Sermonelli stares at that one in the dirt. 1-1 count. Pitch black night in Long Beach. Gray and white underneath the light towers, and still the same old Blair Field we're used to. 1-1. Lunges to punch it foul. 1-2 count for Sermonelli. Long Beach in its home cream-colored jerseys. A couple of the players came up to me and told me that they were upset that they didn't get Star Wars-themed jerseys. However, we did get possibly the weirdest request ever made of me by a player on a game day, and it relates to Star Wars. 1-2 up high. Jacob Jablonski wanted to show off that he has an authentic lightsaber. I think he got it at Disneyland, and it needs to be charged to work. So if you had told me at the beginning of the season that I would spend a day charging a lightsaber for a baseball player, I wouldn't have understood. 2-2, fouled over the backstop.
Oh, I would have. Because what is this? How many Star Wars nights have you been a part of at this point?
A ton, but none of them have involved a player needing to charge the lightsaber. Usually it was just you pop the batteries in because they're the ones you have as a kid that are like the Russian nesting dolls where they drop out.
Yep. Had one of those.
2-2. Slug to deep center field. Emilio Corona jogging to his right. He's got time, and he makes the catch. 2 up, 2 down in the top of the 6th. Still 4-0. Missoula with the bases empty. Long Beach's bats maybe operating a little more like lightsabers, cutting through the ball in clutch situations to this point in the game instead of making solid contact. The Coast have stranded a runner in scoring position in every single frame so far. Here's Xavier Casarilla on the right side. Bent at the waist, the pitch. Curveball for a strike at the belt. Casarilla's 28 home runs, best on the Zoo's roster. The former Cardinals draft pick at the plate, the 0-1. He swings and lifts it to right center field, shallow behind second base, and they're moving back forward is Spence Kaufman. Jackson Bird, 2 innings, no hits out of the bullpen. This one a 1-2-3 frame. We move on with 4, 5, and 6, due up for a Coast team desperate to strike through. Maybe their X-Wings can finally find the spot on the Death Star and start to chip away at this 4-0 Missoula lead on the Long Beach Baseball Network. Needing a jump start. Here comes the heart of the Long Beach order. 4-0 Missoula, bottom of the 6th inning. Righty pitching to lefty. Mason Martinez to Cuba Bess, who swings and misses over the first pitch. Curveball for strike 1. Jesse Cook with you on the mic. Joey Miller to my right. Black skies off the SoCal shoreline in Long Beach. 0-1. Bess stares at another breaking ball. This one landing at 74 miles per hour down the middle for an 0-2 count. Cuba Bess 0 for 2, leading Long Beach in home runs with 22, but he hasn't hit one since the series in Ogden just about 3 weeks ago. Yesterday, his first RBI in 15 days. Righty pitches, lefty swings, taps that one to first base. Xavier Casarilla fields on the backhand. Underhands to Martinez, covering first for the out. Well, this Missoula defense has only allowed one base runner now over the last 8 players to the plate. Before that, Benjamin Rosengard worked a walk. And here he is on the left side. Missoula taking game 1 of this series, 3-1. Long Beach bashing its way to victory last night, 10-3. Now the third ever meeting between the Zoo and the LBC. Paddleheads have the lead. First pitch to Rosengard. He swings, saws it to short, and leaping to make the catch is Elliott Good. Very quickly, 2 away in the bottom of the 6th. 4-0 Paddleheads. Base is empty. Here comes Spence Kaufman. Well, on Star Wars night at the ballpark, he breaks out his Ghostbusters theme walk-up music. And it's starting to catch on, Joey.
Yeah, well, he's made an immediate impression here. He's the only Long Beach coaster with 10-plus hits in this homestand heading into this game.
Righty to righty. The pitch misses low and away on the curveball. And his first game as a member of the Coast was the first leg of this homestand. Traded from the Mobiles a week ago Monday. 1-0. Kaufman swings, tags that one back up the middle. That's through to center field. When you need a 2-out knock, who are you going to call?
Spence Kaufman.
Spence Kaufman delivers. 4-0 Missoula, runner on first, 2-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning. And here comes Anthony Mata. And, well, we've been calling on Spence Kaufman for the song. Long Beach has called on Anthony Mata for some great defense in this game and a couple hits in this series. Currently standing at 2 for 5 across the early part of the week. He had the only RBI in the loss on Tuesday. Another affair between righties. First pitch, Mata watches the 3/4 curveball fall for a strike at the knees inside. Make sure you stay tuned to the Long Beach Coast YouTube page. We're chatting with Mata and his wife, Felina Mata, about their athletic facility. 0-1, lands for a strike at the knees. That beach ball interview dropping next week. You can catch all of your Long Beach Coast content on the YouTube page or on social media where it's at Long Beach Coast, except on Instagram where it's at LB Coast Baseball. Crowd keeping up the chance for Let's Go Long Beach. Mata fighting 0-2. The pitch. He swings. Knocks that one on the ground to second. Fielded by Michael Ball, who jogs on to first for out number 3. Well, for the first time in this game, Long Beach fails to strand a runner in scoring position, this time only leaving him on first base. We move on to the top of the 7th inning. The Coast in need of a Star Wars-like miracle on Star Wars night. And to give you a new hope for the last 3 innings, it's Joey Miller on the mic. 4-0 Missoula here on the Long Beach Baseball Network.
Into the 7th we go, and now Jackson Bird is going to be tasked with doing what he's been doing, holding the line. Couple of zeros on the board, only one base runner allowed in the past 2 innings. Joey Miller, Jesse Cook, now Nate Vargas up to the plate here in the top of the 7th. 4-0, Paddleheads. And the first pitch to Vargas, right back and just past Jackson Bird, who gets out of the way. It's a leadoff single for Vargas, his first hit of the game.
And the first hit off of Bird. And that is emblematic of how this outing has gone for Jackson because he's kept his pitch count low. First pitch swinging, first pitch single. He's forced weak contact before, but that is only the 30th pitch he's thrown, dealing into his 3rd inning of relief.
Now Michael Ball has a runner at first and nobody out. The second base runner that Bird has given up now in 2+ innings of work. The first pitch to Ball right over the heart of the plate for strike 1. If you recall in Game 1 how this series began, 3-1, a loss for Long Beach. The only runs that came across were in the 2nd inning. Well, the only runs that came across in this game thus far were in the top of the 2nd. Michael Ball fouls one to the first base side for strike 2. After the 2nd inning, for the Long Beach Coast specifically, in the final 7 innings of offense, 25 batters came up and only 5 reached. Now, in the first 6 offensive frames of this game, 25 batters for the Long Beach Coast have come up and 7 have reached. But all 7 have been left stranded, many in scoring position, and that is what has led to a one-sided game thus far. 1-2 on the ground, in front of home plate. Bird is going to get the out at first on the swinging bunt. Nate Vargas to second. Now number 1 is recorded. But a runner in scoring position now. Tai Yukamoto has gone hitless today, but on the series, now 3 for 8. A hit by pitch as part of that 1-2-3 leadoff in that 2nd inning. He came around to score the 3rd of 4 runs for the Missoula Paddleheads. I believe I saw Tai Yukamoto in the stands earlier today with what I'm going to assume is a family member because of how he excitedly approached said family member. There are a lot of people for the Missoula Paddleheads in the crowd this series. Many of these players out of California. Yukamoto, it's a worm burner to Kaufman, then on to first for out number 2. Nate Vargas now to 3rd on a couple of ground outs.
Well, remember last night Ryan Wentz pitched, and he has appeared at this very ballpark before playing for Cal State Northridge. So a lot of players, let's say maybe even if they didn't hail from the state of California, they've played at this scenic location just because of what Long Beach is in college baseball, and a lot of people have already seen it in movies and commercials. So there is always a healthy following for teams when they come to SoCal.
Quick shuffle out of the dugout for Troy Percival, the former UC Riverside guy, the manager, rather, who called upon Jackson Bird about halfway through the season, and since then he's been trying to find a role, and I think he's found a role as a bullpen guy who can get it done on the back half in maybe a better appearance than this, rather a better situation than this. A pop fly to Amelia Corona ends the inning, and that leaves Vargas, the leadoff single, stranded at 3rd. Bird, 3 scoreless innings, heading into stretch time. Still a lot of work to do for the Long Beach Coast, who trail 4-0 on the Coast Media Network. Bottom of the 7th, Jackson Bird is doing his job. And right now the offense will need to do a job here. Joey Miller, Jesse Cook. We talked about it. 25 batters up, and only 7 have reached. And all of them have not gotten aboard. Now Troy Percival is going to try something new. Jacob Jablonski, a pinch hitting role for Johnny Pappas to lead things off here in the 7th with the starter, Mason Martinez, still on the mound. A called strike to Jablonski, who started on the bench yesterday, went 1 for 4. Soft contact right back to the mound, and Martinez gets it to first in time for out number 1. Brings up Robert Pitts, who's 0 for 2 today. Across the past 3 completed innings, there have been 2 of the 4 hits for the Long Beach Coast tonight. 1 walk, but those 3 base runners are it for the 4th through the 6th, the middle 3 innings. Robert Pitts slashes under 1, and the first pitch is a pop out to the right fielder. 3 pitches, 2 outs. Here comes Eddie Pelk, who has been a light in a dark place tonight. 2 for 2 with a walk, has reached all 3 plate appearances.
Well, at a moment like this, Cooper Vest told us yesterday that his philosophy comes from Ted Lasso, slamming the door frame, pointing up, saying, believe.
They'll need to believe in themselves to be who they were last night. Eddie Pelk takes the first pitch high for ball 1. Second pitch, a called strike to Pelk. Pelk, who's gotten his way into 2 separate 3-ball counts. The last time up, he got the first one out of the infield. Now off the end of his bat to the second baseman Ball, who throws on the run for out number 3. 6-pitch inning for Mason Martinez. Nothing but zeros on the board since the top of the 2nd. We head into the top of the 8th. 4-0 Paddleheads. We'll be right back. Into the 8th, the 4th pitcher on the mound for the Long Beach Ghost, who still trail 4-0, is Ryan Fawkes, who we saw just last night. He was the start of a back half that cleared out the board on the Paddleheads. Put up a 0 to start things, and then Steven Ordorica followed him. Zach Volker finished out a 10-3 victory, but this time it's looking a lot more like the first night. 1-1. The Paddleheads and the Coast tied in this series, the very first meeting between these 2 franchises. And a called strike on Michael Kazuski for strike 1 off of Ryan Fawkes. An RBI single back in the 2nd. And the next pitch in the dirt, rather a swing for strike 2. Ryan Falks walked Kozuski last night. A wild pitch drew him all the way over to third, but Falks didn't necessarily get out of the jam. Ordorica finished that inning for him. A foul ball to the netting for a carried on 0-2 count. And Jesse, right now, the goal for the defense is just to keep being strong and keeping fast. Another foul ball. That's been the trend, as they're just waiting for the force to awaken in the bats for the Long Beach Coast, who have been dormant tonight.
Well, we've already seen Anthony Mata up the middle make the Kessel run in, 13.4 parsecs.
Called ball low on a fastball by Fox. Former product of San Diego State and Cal State Fullerton. Crowd stomping along. Now a line drive into left center. It's going to fall in the gap. There's a leadoff single off of Fox, just like last inning, off of Bird. But this time, it's on the 6th pitch. Nate Vargas got it on the 1st. He was left stranded at 3rd, courtesy of Jackson Bird, who finishes his line with just 1 hit in those 3 innings. No runs plated, only 1 walk and 1 strikeout.
At my mother's and sister's bidding, I have to say that it's 1 Ewok on Star Wars Day.
Well, a lot more than 1 Ewok, as there's a foul ball by Enzo Apodaca. Right now, the first 3 pitchers for the Long Beach Coast have given up 7 walks in this game. 9 total free bases, including a couple of hit-by pitches, and of those free bases, 3 of those 9 have come across to score. 1-1 count now on Apodaca, the Scottsdale, Arizona native, who's 1 for 4 tonight. An RBI single in the 2nd. Fox nods along. A swing causes Apodaca to almost lose his helmet. The ball trails back into the backstop for strike 2. Top of the 8th. And a 4-run deficit. The Paddleheads also out hitting the Coast just by 2 hits. 10 total hits in the game, 6 for the Paddleheads. Chopped ground ball up the middle. Kaufman tags the runner heading to second, then gets the out at first for the double play. Kaufman, who entered the hit column just last inning, or a couple innings ago, now makes an impressive play to clear up the base paths for Ryan Fox, and a chance to face the minimum with Nick Klemp.
Well, we've seen really intelligent fielding from Long Beach all series long. Remember Cooper Vest charging in a Keith Hernandez-esque play on a bunt and nabbing a runner going for third. Anthony Mata at short today making great plays. Yesterday, Jablonski and Kaufman turning 2 on 3 separate occasions.
First pitch to Nick Klemp misses. And Nick Klemp has done damage this series. 4 RBI thus far, 2 tonight. We're in game 3 of 6. A breaking ball misses inside for ball 2. Right now, Klemp working a 1 for 4 night in his 5th plate appearance. Reached on an E6 back in the 4th. He was left stranded at 3rd. 2-0. Popped up first base side. Vest watches it go over to the net and fall on the awning. To some anticipatory fans, hoping that that fell down out of orbit. Trying to go with as many space references as I can. I know we did have a space night here at the ballpark not too long ago. 2-1, waved and miss in the dirt for strike 2.
We did, which leads me to recall a pun we made that night, that for Long Beach to come back in this game, it's not rocket science. They just have to capitalize on offense with their runners in scoring position. The defense is holding up its end of the bargain.
2-2, tatted off towards the first base side. Nobody on, and 2 outs for the Paddleheads, who in their first 7 offensive frames have left a runner on base with the exception of the 6th. A 1-2-3 inning that time for Jackson Bird. Next pitch misses low and outside for ball 3.
And Ryan Fox, he started out this frame attacking the zone, but as he's one pitch away from ending this inning, Klemp, who's already capitalized in this game, fends him off, and now he dances around.
Full count in the air towards right field. Pitts has to retrace back near the warning track, but makes the grab for out number 3. Fox faces the minimum, courtesy of a nice double play by Spence Kaufman. We'll send it to the bottom of the 8th. Only 6 more offensive outs and a 4-run deficit for the Long Beach Coast on the Coast Media Network. Bottom of the 8th, and you guessed it, Mason Martinez is still on the mound, chugging along to what could potentially be a complete game outing, and right now it's a shutout, 4-0. The Coast Bats have been silent as they get their way through their 4th time through the lineup. On the other side, they're working their way through the 5th. They just started off the top half of that lineup. Ryan Falks facing the minimum thanks to a double play. Now Emilio Corona will try and start things off. One time reaching base today. He swings on a foul tip into the glove of Vargas for strike 1. 0 for his past 2, but both off of his bat. And that's the thing. Everything's being put in play. Martinez is trusting his defense. When Garrett Van Deventer took the mound in the top of the 1st, we talked about how he dominates with the fact that he trusts his defense. But tonight, Martinez took a cue from that in his first ever outing with the Paddleheads. A slider misses outside for ball 2. His defense has gotten everything for him. He hasn't had a strikeout since the 1st inning, where he struck out 3 in a row with a runner in scoring position. 5 straight innings where a runner has been left in scoring position to start off this ball game. And now a fan from Corona for strike 2.
Well, Emilio Corona has sort of the same problem we've seen with Jacob Jablonski, that he has a very long swing, but it generates a lot of power, and Emilio is an incredibly aggressive batter, so he's going to attack pitches that are anywhere close to the zone.
Well, we saw that last night when he sent one out of here. Breaking ball inside, almost bended back into the zone, but Corona, a good eye, waits for ball 3. Entered into the 40 category of the stolen base variety. His 40th stolen base, and then a couple more. Hard line drive through the 5-6 hole for a leadoff single by Emilio Corona. Enters the hit column for the first time tonight. That's his 47th hit of the second half. Came into this game batting .414 in the second half, not to mention a slugging percentage of .703. An incredible second half it's been for the rookie.
And if you ever needed someone to start a rally, Emilio Corona is that guy because he can run on the bases better than anyone in the Pioneer League with his 42 steals.
And just when it seemed like the Coast were starting to figure out Martinez, his night is done. Michael Schlacht comes out to take the ball from the first year, fresh out of the Frontier League. His second career start, he's in line for the victory. Now he's going to try and trust his bullpen here. We'll tell you who the new arm is for the Paddleheads. Looks to be a righty when we come back 4-0 in the bottom of the 8th on the Coast Media Network. New arm for Michael Schlacht and his Paddleheads trying to take the series advantage. Joey Miller, Jesse Cook. Here in the bottom of the 8th, Emilio Corona got the leadoff single off of Mason Martinez. Fantastic outing, 7+ innings of work, 5 hits, 3 walks, and 3 Ks. In line for the victory. And now the former Oakland baller out of La Jolla, Ritter Steinman, will send in to his 25th appearance on the season and face off against Cooper Vest. Cooper Vest got a rally started with Emilio Corona on base yesterday. That was a little earlier in the game. That was in the 4th, but it led to a 6-run rally off of his triple called strike to the Utah native, who's 0 for 3 tonight. 5 for 9 heading into this game for the first 2 games of this series. There goes Corona towards second, and no throw. Vargas bites it, and Corona gets another swiped bag for his 43rd on the season.
Man, half the time, why even entertain the idea of throwing? Corona has forced so many catchers to just keep the ball in their palm because they have no shot of catching him.
1-1 on the ground, and ball on the right side has a good amount of time to make the play at first. Corona gets his way to third. Now a runner in scoring position for the 6th time in 8 tries. Can Cuba Bass cash in this run? Cuba Bass is 0 for 3 tonight.
All he needs to do here is get it to the outfield with Corona's speed. Anything beyond the infield should be RBI 99 for him.
Has not gotten it to the outfield quite yet. A couple of ground balls. And this one's not going to either. A pop fly in the infield. Casarilla grabs it on the infield dirt for out number 2. Benjamin Rosengard, in this case, is Obi-Wan Kenobi. The only hope to get this first run across before the 9th inning. 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. member of the Team Israel World Baseball Classic roster, and already cemented himself into the Pioneer League record book with the Idaho Falls Chuckers last year and his .463 batting average. Takes a ball one inside. Took a walk in the fourth. Other than that, he's 0 for 2 tonight. 1-0 misses outside. Rosengard not swinging at anything that he doesn't have to from this new pitcher. Ritter Steinman, 30 innings pitched with the Paddleheads this season with an 8.40 ERA. Steinman misses well inside. Getting Rosengard moved off the plate. Has yet to get a strike on Rosie. Steinman from just down the coast, just outside of San Diego. 4-pitch walk now to Benjamin Rosengard with runners at the corners. Rosengard does a job there, and he doesn't really have to do much to do that job. And now, here comes Spence Kaufman. Spence Kaufman has been nothing short of clutch in late inning scenarios. He's not too worried when he goes up to the plate. Former Padres product. A single back in the sixth to enter the hit column. Slider misses outside for ball one. Now that's five straight balls.
Yeah, only 3 strikes dealt in this relief appearance for Steinman.
Well, there's the fourth. Called strike on that very same pitch. Outside edge.
Well, may the 4th be with you. Star Wars Day.
And we are in August. We are a ways away. But then again, we don't get May 4th here in the Pioneer League. It's a bit too early. The very first game of the Long Beach Coast was 15 days after May the 4th of this year. Challenged by the catcher Vargas on a ball, and it's going to be overturned. That's the first challenge of this game. And it's a successful one for Missoula, who ran out of challenges yesterday. 1-2 now on Kaufman with 2 outs and runners at the corners. Fouled off, and it hits the backstop. Lucky break there as he reached out in front of a slider again. Kaufman, this is his 8th game played with the Long Beach Coast. So far, 9 games into this homestand, this being the 9th. Here comes Rosengard to second. Pitch misses outside. And Rosengard gets a stolen base, gets into scoring position for what will be Deuces Wild. 2 on, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Second stolen base of this very inning. Steinman gets Kaufman to ground out towards the first baseman. Casarilla had to hustle. And that ends the inning. On the 3 unassisted, 2 more left in scoring position for the Long Beach Coast. They'll have to get it done in the 9th. Ryan Fawkes will try and do a job in the top when we come back 4-0 Paddleheads on the Coast Media Network. Into the ninth in what has been a one-sided game, 4-0. Currently the Coast getting shut out by the Paddleheads. They'll have only 3 more outs in the bottom of this inning, but still some business to attend to in the top half. Bryce Sermonelli, followed by Xavier Casaria and Nate Vargas. Sermonelli fouls the first pitch off to the third base side for strike 1. And you know how they were talking about their strategy of this 1 in a million chance to try and blow up the Death Star. That's what it feels like right now, with the Coast trying to figure out how to blow up the Paddleheads' successful day thus far.
To be fair, from the Paddleheads' perspective, the Coast are the evil empire, having won the first half. But the point still stands.
Well, this is the home broadcast, so we're the good guys.
That's right.
0-2, misses outside. Sermonelli, 1 hit back in the first, but since then 0 for 3. Only 2 strikeouts across the first 8 innings. Ryan Fawkes faced the minimum, by the way, in the top of the 8th by trusting his defense. 2-2 count. Nobody out, nobody on for the Paddleheads. Fawkes delivers a line drive right into the glove of Rosengard for out number 1. Look what I found. Holds it high. That brings up Xavier Casarilla. Casarilla 0 for 3 today. Every time off his bat. A walk back in the 4th. Swings at the first pitch. On the ground to Spence Kaufman. Gets it to first for out number 2. Ryan Fawkes, potentially being the final pitcher of tonight in what he hopes is a comeback attempt. What we all hope is a comeback attempt. He's 2-0 on the season. So should the Rebel scum, I guess in this case, come back in the bottom of the 9th, then that could potentially add to the win column for Ryan Fawkes. Nate Vargas takes the first pitch breaking ball.
And really, this has been a fantastic performance by the bullpen. No runs allowed from any of these arms. Gary Grosjean walked 5 batters, but other than that, there have been 2 base runners since.
And how that happened is that, all of the runs for the Paddleheads that have been keeping them afloat have been in the top of the 2nd. 1-1 count for Vargas. Off speed misses up. Vargas has reached in all 4 plate appearances. 3 times the way of the free base. He accounts for 3 of the total 9 on the day. Issued by the initial 4, rather the initial 3. Ryan Fawkes has yet to do so. 2 outs in the top of the 9th. Gets a called strike on the fastball right across 2nd Street. In the first 8 innings, only 2 times have a Long Beach Coaster faced the minimum. Ryan Fawkes accounts for 1 of them. Now he could potentially account for the 2nd. He misses inside. It's going to be a full count with 2 outs. Due up in the bottom of the 9th is the bottom of the order. Anthony Mata, Johnny Pappas, and Robert Pitts. You might see a pinch hitter in that role. Bardwell is still on the bench. In the air to shallow left field. Rosengard backpedals and nabs it out of the night sky for out number 3. Fantastic outing for Ryan Fawkes, finishing out the final 2 defensive frames. Now it's all or nothing. Heading into the bottom of the 9th, down by 4. Can the Coast come all the way back? Stay tuned here on the Coast Media Network. Bottom of the ninth, baseball once more, and the Coast leaving it all up to this final inning. Joey Miller, Jesse Cook. 4-0 is the score right now. The Paddleheads have led since the top of the second. That's the only inning where a run has crossed home plate. Absolutely nothing but eggs on the board to this point. And now Anthony Mata is going to try and lead things off against the Paddleheads closer, Matthew Taubensee. What this could potentially mean right now is the Paddleheads not only taking the 2-1 series advantage heading into the final 3 games of this home set, but what this could also mean is that the Coast could be shut out for the very first time in their franchise history if they can't at least get a run on the board in this inning. Anthony Mata takes outside for ball 1. 1 for 3 tonight. A single back in the second. He was the first of now 5 hits on the board. Nothing but bases stranded for the Long Beach Coast. That's the story of tonight. Called strike. Nine left on base in the first 8 innings. Only 1 inning where nobody was left stranded. Now Anthony Mata fends one off to Park Avenue.
By the way, it is worth noting that Long Beach holds a 2-game lead for the top spot in the second half standings over the Modesto Roadsters, a 1.5-game lead over the Billings Mustangs. Well, Billings wins today, Modesto on the way to losing.
Ball gets away from Taubensee, the lefty, who got the save in the first game, the 3-1 victory that started out this series. His 7th on the season, still 10 behind Zach Volker, who got the save last night. Currently leading the league in saves. Volker will not play a factor here tonight. 2-2 misses high and outside. It has been nearly a month since the third and most recent walk-off in Long Beach history. That was Easton Jones against the Red Pocket Mobiles, where at the time Spence Kaufman was on that team. Red Pocket Mobiles on a historic tear, maybe not a positive one. 27 games in a row they have lost, and I'll have to check to see if it's 28 tonight, heading towards a potential all-time professional baseball record of 35 set by the Empire State Grays. They did, in fact, lose handedly. Swing and a miss for Anthony Mata, who is retired for out number 1. Here in the bottom of the ninth, now Johnny Pappas to the plate. He accounts for one of the 3 walk-offs.
That's right, the
second.
middle one.
Yeah, the second one.
Sacrifice fly against Oakland on the last day of June.
Here we are nearing the end of August now.
And that was a swing where, sure, it didn't leave the yard, but it felt like a home run. Made it to the warning track with a runner on third and fewer than 2 outs. You knew what was going to happen if that ball got to the outfield.
1-0. Vargas tried to frame it back into the zone, but it still misses outside for a 2-0 count on Pappas, who's 0 for 2 today. He had his spot batted for by Jablonski in the bottom of the 7th. Now returns to that spot in the lineup. A called strike, a late call there by Scott Ginger. Pappas, brief moment, he steps out of the box. 2-1 rip down the left field line, but foul.
Well, looking out at the rest of the season, Long Beach has enjoyed just 1 win at home when trailing entering the 9th inning, 3 on the season to 16 losses. But they've enjoyed an 8-run comeback. They've also scored 9 runs in an inning before. It's not out of reach.
2-2 misses outside. Taubensee wanted that call. Now it's back-to-back full counts, the last of which he won on a swing and a miss by Anthony Mata. Matthew Bardowell is in the on-deck circle. He'll bat for Robert Pitts. And Pappas takes ball 4. Matthew Bardowell, his first appearance of this game. He thought he had the night off. Not so much when your team is facing a potential shutout. Started by Mason Martinez. 7 innings, 5 hits, 0 runs, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Only 3 strikeouts in the first now 8 1/3 innings defensively for the Missoula Paddleheads. Bardowell steps in, has the best on-base percentage of the second half at .490. Now the tall, muscular right-hander rips a line drive into center field. A diving attempt, but it's down. Kazuski can't get there. Still, by some miracle, he keeps it in front of him. It's just going to be a base hit, but an important one at that. That gets Johnny Pappas to second base.
Well, this is how you have to do it if you're Long Beach. It doesn't have to be done in one swing. The only guys who may even have an opportunity to bring around 4 runs with one swing are Emilio Corona and Cooper Vest, who are on deck and in the hole. So you have to take this piecemeal and just focus at bat by at bat. Not everyone has to be the hero. The only way to do the job of a hero is to work as a team. If Star Wars has taught us anything, it's that.
Don't count out the Rebels.
On Star Wars night.
Well, Eddie Pelk is looking to be Luke Skywalker. He walks a lot. As a matter of fact, once tonight, 106 times this season. All-time Pioneer League record. And the first pitch for this lefty-on-lefty matchup misses outside for ball 1. Known for his plate discipline, he's reached 3 of his 4 plate appearances tonight. Couple of base knocks. The lone batsman in the Coast lineup with multiple hits. 1-0, misses in the same spot outside. A bit more sharp on that fastball across Taubensie's body.
It would be shocking to do this against Taubensie. Among qualifying pitchers on the Missoula roster, he has the lowest ERA, 3.43.
Taubensie tries a 2-0 count, misses even further outside. Now, Pelk is not somebody you pitch around, especially in a situation like this where you could potentially load up the bases with 1 out. Emilio Corona also in the on-deck circle.
What are you doing hanging on the corners to Pelk, too? You know he has a great eye. You know he's not going to chase.
Well, maybe the nerves are getting to Taubensie. Time called here. Taubensie asking what's wrong.
Doesn't happen often that Taubensie is rattled. 1 loss in the season. He's the team leader with 7 saves. Dad played big league baseball for the Astros, Reds, Cleveland, I think, in the mix there as well. Knows how to face pressure.
The 3-ball count, hits for strike 1. And now, if Pelk so chooses, he can swing at the next one. But I'd expect to see Taubensie try to challenge him outside again. Foul ball. Third base side. Pulls it to a 2-strike count. 1 out. Runners at first and second. Pappas is the lead runner. Bardowell the trail. Usually in this situation you put in Pitts as a pinch runner, but Bardowell took his spot in the lineup. Taubensie looks around the diamond. Now the 3-2. Down the left field line, but into the Steve Traxel bullpen. Still a full count. Full count, misses outside, and now Eddie Pelk, the walking man, gets his way aboard to load up the bases for none other than Emilio Corona, who accounts for 2 of the 3 home runs of this homestand, including last night with the insurance runs. A 3-run jack to dead center.
Well, the only type of home run Emilio Corona has not hit this season is a grand slam. That would help a lot here. It would tie the game, but you don't need a home run. He has a very good habit of swinging for contact and still powering it out of the yard. We've seen many a low homer from him that travels off the bat at more than 100 miles per hour because Emilio Corona makes himself one of the perfect people for this situation.
Mound visit for the Missoula Paddleheads. It's David Peterson who draws in his infield to see what they need to do. They'll likely try and cut the run with Pappas at third. And what you can do here, now that you have 1 out, you can at least get a pop out and score a run. But right now, Emilio Corona is just going to look for a hit. He got one in his last at-bat.
Now, I'm not sure if Missoula wants to play to try and cut the run at the plate because really that run doesn't matter.
It appears not. Emilio Corona represents the tying run at the plate. Crowd starting to get loud here in this bottom of the ninth. Swing and a miss for strike one atop the 91-mile-per-hour fastball. Corona taps his bat on home plate. San Luis Obispo native looks on for the 0-1, turns into an 0-2. He's going to challenge it. And it's not going to turn out in his favor. First challenge attempt by a Long Beach coaster. They're now 0 for 1. One remaining for the Coast. And right now, Corona down to a last strike with one out. Whiff by Corona on the fastball high and outside at 92. 2 outs. Now Cooper Vest needs to be a hero.
Well, there Emilio got greedy on pitches that looked close. Right mentality to have in a game like this where you're definitely not out of reach. But Taubensee really fast on those pitches with good run away from right-handed batters made it difficult for Corona to locate where that pitch would end up.
Cooper Vest does have one grand slam on the season thus far. Takes a strike, but it's been a while since he's hit one out.
I believe he may have hit the first grand slam in team history.
I think you're right.
During that first series at Yuba Sutter.
Yeah. He also liked to hit him out at Raimondi. Well, he's going to fan on that one. Now down to the last strike. Taubensee trying to finish out what could potentially be the first shutout for the Long Beach Coast. On the negative side, that is. 0-2, swing and a miss. This game is over at 9:14 p.m. Taubensee gets the job done, and the Paddleheads are victorious and advantageous heading into the second half of this 6-game set. Now leading the series 2-1, a 4-0 victory on this Thursday night. We'll wrap things up in the post-game show when we come back around here on the Coast Media Network. Well, we're Getting ready for a drone show after Star Wars night concludes on a somber note. 4-0 is the score. It's the first time that the Coast have not put up a run across 9 straight innings in a single contest. Joey Miller, Jesse Cook, and what seemed like heading into this game, like they got their mojo back after the 10-3 victory on Wednesday night. Now it looked like the very first night of the series. The only runs that came across were off of Garrett Van Deventer, who takes the loss tonight. Only 2 innings of work for the Vandalorian. 4-2 now on the series. Mason Martinez, man, what an impression you make.
Wow.
For your second professional start, your first with the Paddleheads, fresh off the plane, and he goes 7+ innings, 5 hits, no runs, 3 walks, and 3 Ks. Tobinsey finishes things out. It's not a save for him, but it sure felt like one. But Jesse, right now, leaving runners in scoring position has served to be the biggest detriment in the offensive struggles for the Long Beach Coast.
I would say that is an apt assessment of this team. 5 left in scoring position during the first 5 innings. You end up with 9 total left in scoring position on the game. I mean, you lose by 4 runs. If you capitalize on any of those opportunities, just an average amount, chances are, at the very least, you lose by 1. I mean, baseball, yeah, it's difficult to record a hit, but let me check my book on, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of those runners left in scoring position made their way into scoring position with fewer than 2 outs.
And not to mention 12 total left on base for the Coast. In the 9 innings combined, only 1 inning, they did not even get a base runner. That was in the 7th. So the problem was not getting on base. The problem was capitalizing on opportunities with runners in scoring position, and that's kind of just where we'll leave it because other than that, it was a quiet game, a defensive battle on both sides, and the Missoula Paddleheads get the advantage heading into the final 3 games of this series. So hopefully things turn around for tomorrow night on Regulators Night.
Absolutely.
The Long Beach Regulators will take the field against the Paddleheads. It'll be the first time the Paddleheads see the alternate identity uniform. And the Coast will hope to bounce back before the weekend, where we'll round things out in the final homestand of August. But for now, that's all we got for you. 4-0, the final score here at Blair Field. From Joey Miller, alongside me, Jesse Cook. Thank you so much for tuning in, but now it's time for us to tune out. Have a great rest of your night.